If you've got the time, we've got the beer. It's the Giant Bombcast.
Now with beer.
Why beer?
Yeah.
Oh, I'm gonna feel so full afterwards.
That's what is that? That was a slogan for a beer.
Really? If you've got the time?
If you've got the time, we've got the beer. It's like
that-
Michelob or something.
Miller time?
Yeah, is that where Miller time
Gotta be
came from?
Miller
You've got the
time.
Miller time. We've got
I don't
the
know.
Miller
I feel like
beer.
it was before Miller time, and I'm gonna go type into the internet. If you've got
Pre-Miller
the time, we've got the beer.
Do we set
There was
our-
a song. Oh yeah, it was Miller. Yeah, it was
Okay.
Miller.
Do we set our clocks forward or behind for Miller time?
You don't.
I
you
think-
actually lose your clock.
I think you
okay.
take your clock and you fucking smash it and take the batteries out
Yeah.
because it's always Miller
Hold
time.
down.
Miller
and the
time's
room
flash
starts
in
spinning.
12. Yeah.
Wrong time. That's
How
what time it
many
is.
different runs of clocks do you think that they've made to send out to bars where instead of 1 through 12, it just says Miller, the Miller, and so it's just like it's always Miller time. You know, some kind of promotional.
Mhm.
And also like clocks that are just 5 o'clock on every iteration.
Yeah.
Yep.
Mhm.
Yep.
Yep.
That's gone
I'm
someone into
starting a
jam.
bar. Yes, I need my bar starting starter kit.
Get these liquor reps in here and tell them to bring all the dumb shit they've got.
Hell yeah.
I knew someone who used to do that for Heineken. Go around to bars. Like who the fuck? Like I get it. Like every bar's got Heineken. What bar do you have to go to? And you're like, can I interest you in fucking Heineken? It's like, dude.
Well, did they do the thing though where they went and then they just bought everyone Heineken for a night? Was it like that
no,
type
that's
of liquor rep?
No, that's shady promoter like shit. Where like
I-
in the 2000s to 2005 or 10, you'd go to a bar and there'd be someone with like, there'd be like someone trying to disguise themselves as like a patron, and they would just like
Oh, gotcha.
be like, "Yo, the Heineken's on me.
Heineken's on me, baby." Yeah.
yeah.
I went
That's
to-
different.
Okay.
I went to a bar once and there was like some sort of promotional thing happening for what is it called? Tennessee Honey, the bourbon.
Oh,
Oh,
okay.
yeah.
Whiskey or something like
yeah.
that. And they had some shot girls in tight fitting tank tops. And I got free shots in exchange for promotional pictures of me going with the shot. And I also got a tank top that says, "I'm an American honey."
God,
Fantastic.
can I
I
buy
wish I
one
had
of
one of
those?
those.
Yeah,
The new
exactly.
men's sizes. Can I get one?
It was
That
comfy.
is-
It was all right.
Do you feel so? So I never really thought of that practice as shady, but maybe that's because I was friends with some bartenders, and so it was always like, oh yeah, the Heineken rep's going to be in here tomorrow night, so you know whatever. So it was never like a shady thing. It was just like, oh, this is this business.
I think it's more shady that like pharmaceutical reps do pretty much the exact same
Sure,
job,
yeah.
but with
Yeah.
drugs.
But they have, cool stuff like pens and notepads that say like Celexa or whatever on it.
And they have drugs.
yeah, they have
and they
rolling
have
And they have
drugs.
drugs. And
Drugs.
also drugs. Yeah, I guess they do also.
I guess so does a liquor person, but
Yeah,
yeah,
if we want to. Yeah.
Kinda, yeah.
really want to boil it down.
And then a doctor just goes like, "Oh, I've got some of these here.
Which
So you don't
is
have to go pick
weird.
up a prescription." It's like, I've got some of this
Yeah.
shit here if you just want to try it.
Hold on. It's one of these pockets
hang
here.
on.
Oh, yeah, here's the Soprax
This one's open.
Laxicon.
Don't
Here you
mind this
go.
one.
You know?
Take it for a spin.
Yeah.
Try
The
this
pediatrician, the pediatrician we used to go to, not the one that we currently go to, just had a wall of formula and stuff like that, and like cough medicine for infants and all this other stuff that was like the same type deal of just like, yeah,
Big
here's
crunk.
some promo packs of formula for you. And it's like, okay,
Yeah.
well, we're not really doing formula, but yeah, take it anyway. Get the
these
fuck out of here.
infants-
We got a nice little welcome package from our doctor. It's just like, here's some formula and a bunch of, promotional shit that they dropped off for
Get that
newborns.
baby hooked
Yep.
right
Yeah.
away. Let's get it on
Get
there.
Get these
Gotta
infants
get that
crunk.
baby into this stuff.
We need
for
our
free.
claws.
Get
in
more of
that
that
little-
Pedialyte. Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
You're gonna take some
think-
Pedialyte and some Red Bull and some Enfamil, and you mix those together.
You think someone's
Hangover
ever
cure.
mixed up baby formula and like protein powder or G Fuel?
Yeah,
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
100%.
Okay.
yeah.
That
Like-
is a
Doesn't baby
that
formula
is-
taste terrible though?
I don't know, but you'd
I
know
mean,
right away.
It's like babies
Doesn't
always
G
smell
Fuel and all
funky.
that, all this stuff probably tastes terrible too, right? I don't.
Yeah, I would imagine you put some of that baby formula powder in your protein shake. You know right away you done fucked up.
Have you seen the insane people at gyms that just do dry energy or pre-workout and protein?
What?
Snorted
They're
or
just
something
like
or what?
fucking pouring pre-workout into their mouth and
Okay,
just like
Can I just say something? There's something about vanilla protein, the powder, that like I just think kind of tastes good. So
Yeah.
whenever I'm making smoothies in the house, I fucking I wet that pinky a little bit, put it in there.
You dip your
Little
knife in
taste.
it.
just
Put it in
just
your
get a
teeth.
knife and
I'm
just get your
I'm
keys
growing my
out and
pinky
just
nail
Got a
long.
nail, yeah.
Yeah.
Dude, it's good, but it's not fucking baby formula. Whatever.
Oh,
That's what I'm into.
I accidentally left a baggie full of cookies and cream protein powder in
Ooh.
a jacket once when I did the laundry.
Oh.
So my clothes.
Oh no.
And the cops
smelled-
pulled you over and said, "What's in
Yeah.
this baggie,
Yeah.
It wouldn't be the first
officer?"
time. And my clothes smelled like soap and cookies and cream. It was a fantastic week. It was
That's
great.
not bad.
Nice.
Yeah.
Oh, that ended well.
That
Yeah.
could go a lot worse. That could go a lot worse.
I got
I
super
don't know.
yoked,
That's right. Your jacket got fucking
jacked.
bulked the fuck up.
It's too big for me now.
Yeah.
Puffy coat.
I put my jacket on and it beat the shit out of me. Oh man, too real. Hey, what's going on? So I don't know. There's some video games. We're at the end of the quarter, but it feels like this week is the slow week, and last week was the hot week.
Hot week.
Or last couple weeks were maybe the
That's
the hot
couple
week.
weeks, yeah.
Week.
Yeah, kind of coasting into April here. But Kirby came out. The new Kirby. God, I don't even know the full name of Kirby.
Did you forget the land?
Forgotten Land.
Urban
Kirby
Steam.
K. Kirby. Wait, I don't think that's it. I don't think that's his full name. It's probably not his full name.
Kerbert. It's Kerbert.
Yeah.
Herbert K. Kerbert, of course. Yeah, why didn't I think of that?
Yeah. Kerbert Schwartz is actually, but it's what is on his license. I don't know.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Jesus
It's
H.
professionally
Kirby.
known as, yeah.
Yes, it's Kerbert
Yes.
Jesus Schwartz.
Just like Gigi Allen, Kirby was also named Jesus.
Oh fuck! Make
He's
that
kind of the
driver's
he's
license.
kind of the he's kind of the opposite in performance style from Gigi
Yeah.
Allen.
Basically,
But-
yeah. There's kind of, I mean, what goes in has to come out eventually with Kirby. So
yeah.
there's a little bit of that. Kirby a little less into the broken glass
crossover.
aspect. Yeah, definitely some crossover. I could see them like co-headlining a bill together, and then the show doesn't happen because one of them ended up in jail and the other ended up dead. I don't know which.
or
but-
ate something they shouldn't have.
Yeah,
Whoa,
yeah.
whoa.
If Kirby ate Gigi Allen, what would that look like and sound like?
Oh, it'd be gross.
Okay.
It's just be so nasty.
It would just be Kirby would just get a grime on him, like when he would squat down to absorb the power, and then immediately there would just be like just clouds of shit smell coming off of him. He would turn like a darker pink.
A
All
rotten
the enemies,
pink.
all the enemies
Yeah.
would just like keep their distance and not attack him because he's
Yeah,
so
no, all
nasty.
the enemies would just come up and like pee on him, and Kirby would love it.
Where would Kirby wear like a choker then? Would it just be around his waist?
Oh Jesus, this is a terrible question. This is
We
the
should-
new pants question. Pants
Should
and
not
dogs.
have
How do they wear it?
combined them. Oh no.
I also looked up how tall Kirby is, and Google's reporting 8 inches.
He's so little.
That's bullshit.
He's so
He ain't-
small.
He's bigger than 8 inches.
if you look at the buildings, okay.
How I like
in the
my
new
men.
Kirby game, there is, it has an overgrown Last of Us style
Dilapidated
something.
buildings.
Like modern buildings. So are you to tell me that those buildings were built for 8-inch tall
Exactly.
people?
Peoples.
I'm willing to entertain that as a possibility.
Yeah.
You could say yes, and I could go, huh? But I just don't think that anyone is willing to put their foot down on that one and say that that's definitely what happened.
Maybe
Those cars, all that stuff, just doesn't.
Well, everything is like kind of like a gachapon stuff with in Kirby and the Forgotten Land. So perhaps this is a smaller Kirby playing in a small town or whatever, a literal small town.
That's why it's forgotten.
That's where he was born.
Yeah.
But Kirby's also how tall is Mario?
It's like what, 4'3", 4'4"?
Yeah, that's sure. So like you got to say Kirby is probably around that height because Smash Brothers exists.
Well, Smash Brothers messes with everybody's size. Pikmin guy Olimar is gigantic
Okay.
compared to how he
Alright.
is.
Yeah.
Okay.
You know.
It's throwing off the science. It's throwing off the science.
Mm-hmm.
Are we talking Mario or Super Mario?
Oh, snap.
Jeez, another layer.
I guess Mario because he does that taunt where he gets big, and that would then be Super Mario.
Right.
Mm.
So I guess by default it has to be real Mario. That's what we're calling small
Real-ass
Mario from here
Mario.
on out. That's real Mario.
Update the wikis.
Be real.
Yeah.
Oh, Mario.
Be real Mario.
Be real, Mario.
Okay.
That's it.
It's a me.
That's what he sounds like.
That's
It's
what he sounds
me.
like.
It's
Yeah.
me. He's like, it's me.
Mm.
That's a Chris Pratt version.
And then can we get
Oh,
like
no.
Luigi to do like a send dog in this scenario to really like kind of round it out? Like what other can we get Funk Dubious involved in this? Like other kind of Cypress Hill side kind of friends and associates? Like is DJ Lethal represented here? All right, fine. Kirby seems very good. I have not had time to play it yet. But some of y'all have gotten some time in on that, and boy, it looks amazing.
Yeah, it looks absolutely amazing. There's only like a couple times I've noticed where stuff far off in the distance of the level is animating at like single-digit frames. But that,
Like Pokemon Legends Arceus.
Exactly.
It's the same situation going on.
but honestly, that's the only downside I've come across playing through it. I think I'm about like 4 bosses in now after that quick look that's now on the site, and a unique thing happens in this game where every time you go into mouthful mode, and mouthful mode is when Kirby doesn't become an object but kind of like wraps his mouth around an object and
Becomes a skin around
Yeah.
the object.
yeah, stuff
Ow.
like when in the trailers where he takes over the car, takes over a set of stairs, a vending machine perhaps. Every time he does it to something, a new object, I think it's charming and cute, but I'm also really disgusted by the thought of it. I don't think it's spoilers, but
Kirby, don't put your mouth on that.
exactly, it's like when you see
Oh, okay.
when you see like a child or like a dog just like getting too close to putting their mouth on something they shouldn't, and you're like, no. That's funny. That's funny.
That's
Kirby
good.
is
I
kind
like
of like halfway between a child and a dog in my my view of him as a precious thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But each time it's been like pretty. It's hilarious each time because then they'll try and weave puzzles around it. Or I thought when you go into mouthful mode with the car, you would just be like driving around. But there's portions of levels later where you're actually doing a race as Car Kirby. And a thing that I don't think the game actually tells you is that dash you have with the car, you can just hold that bad boy down and be gunning it the whole time.
Mhm.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
And it's oddly some of the best feeling almost drifts that happen around the corners. Like it actually feels good where you don't have to let off the brake or whatever. You're just jamming around. And whoever was designing it was like, people love drifting in cars, so we'll just give it to them.
Accurate.
And like the flow of the levels, it's pretty linear, but just like in a Tunic, if your brain is poisoned by hugging corners and trying to find little secrets, there's a bunch of like little secrets and a couple branching paths where you can find more of your little Waddle Dee buddies. And as you're
Waddle Dee
unlocking
dudes.
these Waddle Dee dudes, as you're finding more of them, they are building more buildings in your little hub area. Jess, I got to the part where we opened up a cafe in our little village.
Ooh.
There's a fun little mini game where Kirby and a Waddle Dee is serving up Max tomatoes and energy drinks to people, and then there's like
and
Served delicious
hamburgers.
style.
hamburgers.
Oh wow.
Yeah, and then there's a lunch rush that happens where you're like, oh, you want this? I want that, and it's hilarious because it's just Kirby in like a little apron.
So cute.
But one of the neat mechanics with all the copy abilities is you can upgrade all of them. And I think it's up to like 3 times, I believe. And I'm currently at a part where I've upgraded my sword to the 2nd tier. and he has like a charge move where like you're holding the sword, and then it's like 2-3 seconds, and then he just whams down on like whoever. And I've beaten bosses in almost one hit that way if I've just like, positioned properly. And it's kind of cheap because I think that is the only copy ability that has an actual block. So you don't have to worry about bosses if you can hold on to that Kirby ability. You're just blocking, you just hold it, you charge, find a spot, and then they're dead.
Have you been using the dodge moves?
Yes. Jess told me this yesterday during the quick look, but there's like a bullet time or like a witch time style dodge that I've only ever really used in the boss encounters. And I haven't really had the chance to use it in like traversing the levels because the levels are fairly easy as is. But the boss battles can actually get kind of challenging, and I like that they pull from the older Kirby games where there's some reoccurring bosses. Like there's the ice walrus you've fought in the past. The tree boss in like Kirby Dreamland is there, but now it's a tropical palm tree.
Wispy Woods.
Yeah. Still angry as shit though.
Trees are fucking pissed. I get it.
I'm still not 100% sure what the story is, but I just love the anime ass style intro that it starts with after you assume the car in like the first hour, and it's just these panning shots of Kirby driving down a broken highway as this music plays.
It's pretty adorable, yeah.
The not fake, but the specific letters in this, it's a pretty easy cipher to break, I guess. And it's just fun just watching the little signage and stuff and just kind of looking at my cipher and whatnot and just saying like, oh, that just says car. Cool. I'm glad I figured that out. The other neat thing in the game is, and Jess, I'm glad we ended the quick look where we did, because there's a gacha style thing where like you're collecting little statues of stuff, and sometimes it's Kirby in a different form, an enemy, or as Jess saw, just a straight up wall. And if you collect multiples of said gacha, you upgrade it. And then in your town, you can spend 10 coins to roll and potentially get a new thing, or be able to upgrade one of your old gacha statues. And it gets worse because they have another tier as you progress through the game, and there's space for more gacha machines.
This is just
That sounds very good.
engineered to get into your brain, Jan.
I hate it. But it's really good.
Seems like you like it.
It's charming as hell, you know? I was telling Jess this yesterday during the quick look, but Kirby just has a knack for whatever the heck he does of being like, you goofball. Okay. All right.
I feel like he's a little
he can
bit
get away with anything.
I support him in
like-
everything he does.
He's kind of like Baby Yoda in a lot of ways.
No.
I don't know. I just watched
Baby Yoda.
Mandalorians. But like I just feel like the sort of innocence is there, where like Baby Yoda's kind of a fucking idiot, and Kirby is kind of a fucking idiot because he'll just put anything in his mouth, try and eat anything.
Dare you compare these two creatures?
And
Both are adorable monsters.
Yeah, they're super fucking cute, and you just want to like snuggle
So am
with
I,
them.
but I don't compare myself to the greats like Kirby.
Yeah, I feel like they're very. I feel like I've kind of nailed it in a really specific way. So our work here is done, ladies and gentlemen.
But like as I'm playing through this game and I'm seeing all these Waddle Dees, I don't remember. I swear you used to fight the Waddle Dees in an old game. I don't know when this
Waddle Doos.
Waddle Dees. Yeah. Oh, okay.
The one-eyeballed ones. I don't know what their problem is.
I heard you try to shoot one, Jan.
I did shoot one. He lived. It's fine. It's cool. We're homies. That happens.
Can you confirm they are giving Kirby automatic weapons?
As you upgrade the gun or the ranger copy ability, you get like a nice double shot where you're going pop pop instead of just pop. I really need to see a video game with Kirby, the Waddle Dees, and the Rabbids.
in like a western,
Sure.
some sort of
Okay.
like put everyone in cowboy
Yeah,
hats and
yeah.
fucking.
Yeah.
Give me Tiny Tina's
Spurs.
Wonderlands, but with Kirby, the Waddle Dees, and the Rabbids. And you know what? Throw in the minions.
No, don't.
Throw in the minions. They taste like banana Tic Tacs, apparently.
Are they the bad guys? Are we killing minions
They're
here?
the misunderstood bad guys.
Can
Are we
you?
murdering minions here? Are we gunning them down in the streets and leaving them face down in a
You're-
puddle of their own
You're
blood?
bopping them. You're bopping them with as
Yeah.
Kirby.
Okay.
What color do they bleed?
Can
Yeah.
you imagine Kirby going mouthful mode on a rabbit?
Oh, whoa, jeez.
Yeah.
I feel like Kirby could just eat a rabbit. I don't think he
Yeah.
needs to go mouthful mode.
A swarm of rabbits.
Okay,
We've
so-
normalized
well, that's
mouthful mode.
Okay.
Mouthful mode. Tough. to
how
say.
many
Isn't
rabbits
mouthful.
can Kirby fit in his mouth?
An infinite amount, maybe.
I mean, he put like a Buick in his mouth. He
Right?
fucking. I mean,
Depends how
Yeah.
many rabbits can fit in the Buick.
yeah.
Can,
That's true too.
I thought about trying. This would take way too much time, and I'm not nearly equipped in After Effects or 3D tracking. But I thought
Mhm.
about downloading Lindsay Lohan's hit 2000s movie Herbie's Fully Loaded, and then just
Sure. Yep.
every time she jumps in the car, it just being Kirby's Fully Loaded.
Mm-hmm.
You've done
Yeah.
it. You've done it.
It's too much work.
Here's how you can
Yeah.
win a podcast. Jen,
Yeah.
congrats.
I feel like, maybe just Photoshop the box art for the
It's not-
movie,
it's not gonna
and
be-
it's not the same. It's
Someone's
not the
already
same.
done that too,
Yeah.
I think.
Oh, yeah, probably.
Yeah.
Yeah, at this point.
Has someone done it?
Not like, you know,
We've said it now, so then it's already in the. It's
in
already in
still
there.
format. Someone has done this in still format, but not
Yeah, yeah, but
high
not-
effort
Not any
motion
kind
tracking.
of. Yeah.
Yeah.
Damn, it's a great game.
That's
It's a great game.
awesome. I'm really looking forward to getting into it as soon as I can. I just feel I'm not going to play anything else until I finish Tunic, I think is where
Ooh,
I'm
baby.
at. And I think I'm getting there, but now I don't some crazy shit happens in that game.
I
Yeah.
saw that you
But
might have
just
encountered
just
the
be
bosses
careful.
in a different
I just-
order.
Yeah, I feel like
Yes.
I'm doing something similar. I just don't want to have anything really kind of ruined for me.
Mhm.
I've done a really good job at sort of like bullet dodging all of these like big reveal moments up till now.
Yeah, no, I won't get too specific about that. More just that, like,
The game's fucking amazing. Yeah.
it's an incredible video game, and I feel like at every turn or at every progress point, there is something that either just looks amazing, has an amazing soundtrack, often both, but then there's just like a couple of reveals along the way where you start to piece together like some of the true nature of some of this stuff, and just go like, oh my god.
Oh yeah,
Like, I don't know. I don't actually know what's going on here, but fuck. And that's been really interesting. Yeah, there's some stuff. Yeah, kind of after I have found the 3 keys, which is, that's pretty much the on your inventory screen right out of the gate. It's like, yo, there are 3 of these things for you to get. And after that, it's crazy. It's fucking absolutely crazy.
yeah,
Um,
yeah. The implications of some of the stuff that seem super normal turn out to be something perhaps bigger. Without specifically spoiling stuff.
There's one thing throughout that game that you encounter over and over again that I didn't think anything of, and then the other day just decided to do a thing at that thing, and it took me somewhere, and I was like, oh, I need to go to all these other things now, and I don't remember where any of them are. I think there's little bits and pieces of that game where I look at it and go like, I think my wish for that game that I think I've mitigated with some of the equipment or some of the cards that I have equipped now. So maybe it's not that big of a deal, but there's part of me that kind of wishes that if that sword was just slightly longer,
Yeah.
it would change the entire balance of that game in a way that I don't think would necessarily make it super easy. It would just, like, I think combat in that game can get a little bit frustrating in a way that, like, mostly just because, like, I'm whiffing just like a little too often, and like you just want him to just fucking reach out and kill someone, and it's like he just doesn't get there as
Meanwhile,
often
his-
as you want.
Meanwhile, his third move in his sword
Oh, his
combo
stab,
goes
yeah.
like so far that I'm
It
like,
do-
whoa, how did you do that, little man?
That's the one I'm whiffing on. So that's the point where you're overextending, right? That's the point where it's like, hey, we made a Souls game, and we threw that in here. Is like the button discipline of like, I need to do 2 swings and then get away because that third attack, the second attack will knock them back and the third will not reach them.
Oh.
Or the third leaves me too open to where I'm getting hit. Like the combat considerations in that game are real, and it's fucking cool as hell. And I did the bosses in I guess in not in the common order, and got into some fights where people were like, "Oh, if you had this item, it would be very different," or whatever, and did it without all that stuff, and still got there. So. Some persistence was nice, but I basically, by virtue of me doing them out of order, I got to a boss last night and beat it on the second try because I was just like, okay, I am fucking, I can just run over there and do this and take care of business, and it was very satisfying.
I'm at the point.
Oh, go ahead.
Yeah,
Jeff.
go ahead.
No.
I'm at the point now where I like every other play, I'll read the entire manual again.
Yeah.
Where I'll just be like, I'm doing something where I'm not reading something. And there's one very pivotal mechanic in this game with those monoliths that I'm just like, I just didn't, it blew over my head like 4 times.
Mm-hmm.
And I got stuck and I was just like, what am I doing? And I would like look at this thing in the book that was telling me what to do. And I still didn't take it at its sort of face value. I was sort of just like, that's a nice drawing. There's nothing. There's nothing important there. But it's
tons of that in that.
So much of that. Yeah.
I say stupid fondly.
Yes.
I really want them to like eventually sell a physical thing, and I don't often buy stuff from games too often, but I would buy that in a heartbeat. Because it's
the full neat. Like Tunic, the full Tunic manual
with like with the notes in it and everything. It's great.
Yeah, all the font work on that thing is amazing too, and yeah, it's a very surprising game, and like I feel like I have a pretty good handle on the nature of like you have a lot of stuff like that where it's like, oh, you feel like you have a handle on the nature of that game, and then like 2 or 3 things change, and you're like, okay, this is fucked. I can't believe this.
Yeah.
And this is such a crazy twist on this, and what it means in terms of like, oh, what does 100% run of this game look like? Do I need to now go back over everything? And I think the answer is probably yes. But I don't know for sure. And anyway. Tunic is fucking awesome.
Yeah,
so good.
It's amazing. It's amazing.
It's so cool watching speedruns of that game because you can just blast through everything super duper fast. Yeah. Once you get an item that lets you traverse the area a little bit easier because you've been seeing stuff that looks like you could latch onto it perhaps.
I want whatever that thing is so bad. I just know it exists. I want it.
Yeah. And I feel like they taunt you with those things that you can latch onto really early in the game.
Definitely very early. Yes.
Yeah. But it turns out that item is actually has multiple uses than you would think.
Huh.
Yeah.
Everything's hidden in plain sight. I love it so much. Oh my God.
Yeah.
Great.
Just an astounding game.
Yeah, and I'm really glad that it stuck the landing, because I remember seeing that game announced however many years ago.
Yeah, well, you were just a teenager.
Yeah. And I was thinking Death's Door kind of stole its lunch by being like an isometric.
Did it
Souls.
or ate it? Did it eat its lunch?
I don't know the term. I just
stole
thought
it, threw it in the trash and laughed.
Assuming it had to steal it before it ate it. So yes, you're right.
Yeah. The other I meant to mention this about Kirby, but just like Tunic, the music,
it's very good.
Yeah,
so good.
yeah. That's the On Steam, they are selling the soundtrack separately as a download if you
Oh, nice.
are so inclined. So you can get your hands on that. It's got a lot of it's like I want to say it's like 60 tracks or something like that. So
Wow.
yeah, there's a lot of music in that game.
The weapon upgrade music in the Kirby shop, the jazz on it, it's just so good. It's just like, yeah, let's upgrade these swords, Waddle Dee. Let's do it.
Nice. Speaking of astounding games, Tiny Tina's Wonderlands came out last week.
Astounding.
I am, I guess it is not a very, it isn't, I don't think it's a good game. I don't think it's good. I think it's a bad game, but I think it's better than Borderlands 3, which is a bloated game. I was not so I did not spend a ton of time keeping tabs on what the fuck Tiny Tina's Wonderlands was past the initial announce. You just go like, oh, okay, fantasy themed Borderlands game with this same kind of Dungeons and Dragons gimmick that they used for that DLC that was very popular for them. They're going to turn that into something kind of like a full game. I get it totally, of course. One of the most annoying characters in video games, but sure, go for it.
I didn't know Claptrap was in this.
I have not played enough of it to tell you, but I'm going to say, yeah, Claptrap's probably at some point in it, right? I don't think they could get away. He's probably going to look like a knight or something, but sure.
Yeah,
it's
in his contract.
Yeah. Maybe not. I could be wrong. Who can say? Yeah. Even the early parts of the game seem to make it seem like, oh, this is going to be very different. It's going to be like more melee focused because a lot of the character class selection is like, when you have this damage, you do a spinning whirlwind barbarian style attack, and you do this, and you're like, oh, okay, I'm gonna have like swords and staves and Dungeons and Dragons shit, and then you get past the tutorial, and it's basically just like, here's a gun, and you look on the pause menu, and all of the, Borderlands has always had the silhouettes for all the different ammo and all the different gun types with shotgun, rocket launcher, sniper rifle, and pistol, SMG, assault rifle, like those are all right there. And all they've really done is, in not even in across the board, in some cases, they have given those guns a fantasy overhaul in terms of just the visuals on them. So it's like, it's a pistol, but like, oh, it kind of looks like a crossbow and it's kind of wood. But then, 10 minutes later, you find a gun that just looks like a fucking gun. And you're like, oh, okay. So it's way more Borderlands than I thought it was going to be. I thought that they were going to do more things to differentiate it on a gameplay level, which is maybe dumb for me to think that, because instead it's like, oh, they took shields and renamed them to wards, and you, instead of having grenades, you now have a spell slot, and so that's different. You have a spell that works on a cooldown, much like grenades worked on a cooldown, and that'll be like you're shooting ice, or you're shooting fire, or you're shooting a snake that distracts enemies, or or whatever. So you'll have a kind of different spells that take up that slot. But generally speaking, they just made another Borderlands game.
Yeah, I don't know why I was under the impression that this would just be a single player focused game and like you wouldn't be able to do multiplayer, but lo and behold, you can do all that jazz.
Totally, yeah. I mean, it's got crossplay and all that stuff now. So with all platforms, the last time for Borderlands 3, they left out PlayStation, probably because money. But they solved that. And it's a little bit smaller, and this is where I think it's a good thing. Like Borderlands 3, okay. Let me back up. Tiny Tina, as we've said, terrible fucking character. The whole thing is based on her being the DM of a role-playing session, and you were the only player character in it. You're sitting around the table with other characters. Those two characters go, oh, we're not going to play for whatever story reason, I forget. And then so you have the Tiny Tina and these two other characters just fucking yelling at you the entire time.
That's comedy, baby.
Yeah. In their classic comic sense, and it's just that is Andy Samberg, isn't it?
I wouldn't mind Andy Samberg yelling at me though.
Yeah, I feel like maybe if he and his people had maybe been involved in the writing, sure, I could take it. But instead, it's this shit. So it sucks.
Wanda Sykes is the other character. Huh?
Yep.
The other character is a robot, so I don't.
That's Wanda Sykes. Yeah.
Okay.
On paper, I wouldn't mind that, but are they constantly yelling at you?
It's mostly Tiny Tina because she's like saying like, and then you come over the chest, and then for shizzle, this thing blows up, and then blah blah blah. You know, it's all that shit times fucking 10, and it's abysmal. It's abysmal stuff.
Of all the characters in all the Borderlands, I think like Tiny Tina is probably the most worst case possible scenario for someone being your DM, and it's like that has the opportunity to be like a good joke, but I just like don't trust the writers to pull that off because it takes a lot of like self-awareness that the character's annoying instead of just the gimmick, and the reason why she's funny is that she's annoying. Like
no, they've proven time and time again that they're not capable of that at this point. So yeah, it's fucking bad. That said, the whole like Borderlands 3 hook of you've got the two main bad guys in that game are like a brother and sister team of streamers, and they are constantly they're basically like evil influencers, I guess is maybe the shorter way to say that. And they fucking suck, and they come in your head and ear constantly as well. They are worse. Because that game is like super long and overdrawn out and all this other stuff. Like it is terrible stuff. And so in a sense, I actually think this is better than Borderlands 3, but that's in a fucking such a goddamn low bar to clear. The thing they do here is it seems like that they have taken a lot of the open world out of the game. And so basically you clear an area, walk through a gate, and you will end up in the overworld, which is meant to look like the D&D table you are all sitting around. And so you have a little character, a little big-headed character that you're walking around. And there's random encounters there that you'll get into. And when you get into that random encounter, it just teleports you into a very tight arena with like some enemies to kill. And then there's a portal that appears when you kill them all, and it warps you back to the overworld. Which I don't know that that's necessarily makes for a great video game, but it's an interesting way to try to like cut down on some of that bloat. I have not played enough of the game to know if they actually succeed in that, but I look at that and go like, actually a tighter Borderlands experience that gets rid of some of the long drawn out just bullshit of that last game is probably not too bad.
I don't really understand why this is D&D themed if they're not going to do something with the D&D kind of like expected format, because this is just like a shoot guys get loot game. It's a looter shooter, just like the other Borderlands are, but like Dungeons and Dragons is about finding all sorts of solutions that are not combat based. So like
all that stuff is just dialogue. All that stuff is just
I presume that there's no way to like be like, I'm going to charisma this guy so that he doesn't want to fight me, or I'm going to pay him off so he doesn't want me to fight him or something. I'm sure that's not even there, but it's like, why would you even go with this like this theme if you're not going to use the theme in a way that mixes anything up or like, you know, goes with the gameplay you've already established? Like, I don't get point A of doing that.
In the very early part of the game, there's a bridge that you need to come down, and so you basically a heart appears on the other side of the bridge, and the dialogue is insinuating that you are attempting to make love to the bridge to get it to lower.
So funny.
So that's not combat, but they're writing dialogue where whenever they do anything that's not combat, it is them trying to write jokes that make it a more D&D experience.
This feels like the most like insufferable D&D experience ever, with the worst DM, the worst other players, and everyone just wants to like romance and fuck everybody when they're not doing combat.
I've played some very awkward games of D&D in the past.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah, I mean it's the reason they did it is because they did it as a one-off DLC that was very popular for them, so they spun it out into a bigger deal. So yeah, I don't know. It's another Borderlands game, and some of the things that they did to tighten up the experience I think are interesting. It's like in a lot of ways it is the most different one of these they've made. More so than that one-shot DLC, and then which they eventually broke out into a separate download, and more so than the pre-sequel, which was set on the moon and had you dealing with oxygen meters and all this other dumb shit.
Oh, right.
What a miserable game that was. Oh my god. And so, yeah, it is the most different one of these that they've made, but I don't know that that's necessarily something that's gonna, draw people to, well, whatever. Borderlands is still insanely popular, which is one of those good signs that, like, there are a lot of people out there with fucking terrible senses of humor, it turns out.
And a lot of them are into D&D, so this is a Venn diagram that mushes together nicely if you're looking for a slightly different demographic to get into Borderlands.
Yeah, I guess so.
Do you think they'll... I guess it's too late now because the game is already out. But you know how they will occasionally have like special skin D&D campaign books? I think they would have made one for Tiny Tina, and like the font is just everywhere. Like it feels like the book is yelling at you.
Oh god.
Oh boy.
I mean, I don't know. Maybe I don't know. This is a game where they give Tiny Tina a bunch of dumb dialogue, and then she tries to cram her love of guns and explosives into a universe where that doesn't fit, and that's like their joke. And at the end of it, she shouts, "Roll for initiative!" And you're like, "All right, yeah, I get it.
Cool.
You made your thing." It sucks slightly less than these games have. I guess is maybe. Let's see. Devastator. Everyone's favorite roller coaster. This Devastator is out on, I believe it's out on Xbox and PC right now. This is a Geometry Wars style dual stick shooter that is one of the closer to Geometry Wars I have seen, and that it's going for that kind of like effects laden vector graphics style kind of grid. And I just wanted to quickly point it out. People should take a look at it. Maybe I'll bring it on Friday for the show if people want to see it in motion. If people want to see a game that's going to chew up some bit rate,
yeah,
that'll do it. That'll do it.
I'll get the confetti ready.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah. Throw the confetti over the top of it and then just like watch the stream just crumble. It's pretty neat. It supports 120 hertz on the Xbox, which is cool if you have a TV that'll do that.
Mm-hmm.
I kind of wish it had modes that were a little bit closer to some of the Geometry Wars kind of endlessy kind of modes. It's a little more wave based, but it's a pretty good dual joystick shooter. And I've been playing a little bit of Tempest 4000 on the Switch, which this just came out on the Switch, but it's been out elsewhere for a good long time. This was the game that kind of started life as TXK on the Vita. And then Atari was not happy with Jeff Minter for basically making an unlicensed Tempest game. So they came at him and said, "You should not do that." And I think, I don't know how that went exactly, but it ended with him basically taking TXK and turning it into Tempest 4000. Which is a lot like Tempest 2000 and a lot like Tempest 3000, which I think was a Nuon game. And a lot like Tempest X3 for the PlayStation 1. It's the same music, same like all that sort of stuff, but like way crazier effects and warbly. I got another game that will destroy a bit rate on something. Very warbly stuff. Yeah. It's a Tempest game. It's a tube shooter in the way that game always has been. It's the same type of power-up system that you saw on the Jaguar, which everyone saw back on the Atari Jaguar. It's still a good soundtrack. The soundtrack to that Jaguar game still holds up, and so that's kind of cool. It looks really nice on the OLED Switch, with that kind of vector graphic-y kind of thing. So it's kind of cool. Jan, you played some Fortnite. I also played a little bit of Fortnite on the show.
Yeah.
What's up with Fortnite?
So Fortnite recently introduced a timed mode where they took all the building out. And if you want to check out some of that, watch the last UPF.
Oh, they fixed it.
Yeah, they fixed it.
Yeah.
And I thought, like, okay, cool. I don't got to worry about building anymore. I can just like loot stuff and find guns and shoot people. But it has been so long since I've actually played Fortnite that there is so many different things popping off. Like, there's still destructible environments. You could still use your pickaxe to break it down walls and everything. But this happened a bunch when you're playing it, Jeff, on UPF. But there's just like random AI dudes now, just like hanging out. And then there's fishing holes, and you can drive. I got hit by a car and died. And then the guy jumped out and ate the fish I caught. And I was like, what the fuck is going on? And I felt so naked because I didn't equip the dumb Naruto skins that I paid money for. I was just using the default ass skin. And then I feel like I was being targeted because I was just a normal dude. And then, like, you know, the little lobby area that you pop into while the game is getting set up, it was just like a cacophony of like random rap ad libs and drops that I was like, I might have found heaven. And then I started playing the game, and I feel like I could still hold my own in Apex if no matter like the time that's passed in between. But
Right.
this different crap happening all the time in Fortnite, I just feel so old. And
There was something when I played it on Friday, like it felt. I don't know. Like I've never liked the shooting in Fortnite. That was always kind of the number one thing that kept me away from it, and I think it still doesn't feel great. But yeah, everything about the way those guns interact and everything about the way you work with your inventory in that game compared to other battle royale games, I find really off-putting. The way they handle their slots and just like, you can put a gun here or bandages. I'm like, no, fuck you. What? No, don't do that.
Yeah.
Be better.
It's kind of like when I tried out Genshin Impact for the first time, where because it looks like Breath of the Wild, you feel like your muscle memory should kick in and stuff should behave a certain way, but it doesn't. And I'm sure for people that are super into Fortnite or like that's the primary shooter they play, that feels really good versus, I don't know, something like an Apex or a Call of Duty. But
totally,
for someone whose muscle memory is like really mapped lately to like a Halo multiplayer, it just feels odd with my hands. Like now, even though I don't have to worry about building anymore, I'm still like literally running into walls with all the different systems that I would feel like an idiot trying to watch some kind of YouTube video to get me up to date on what has happened in Fortnite since they first introduced Thanos. Because God, it is like a whole fucking timeline that has probably happened since then of like children have been born and gone to college now.
And got their own victory royales. And yes, they have written many rap songs and bad parodies about how much they love Fortnite. And they so I guess earlier today they did kind of break out this no building mode into something that looks like it's a more permanent edition, calling it Fortnite Zero Build.
Okay.
Which is what I think that it was suspected last week, because a lot of the other changes, people were mining that out of the client and going like, oh, it looks like this will be something they keep even when they do bring building back to the game. But yeah, I don't know. I still have it installed. Like I almost uninstalled it this morning, and then I was like, I don't know. Maybe I'll try this again. Maybe I'll do better with a controller or something. I don't know.
It's such a unique ecosystem that people that are super into it are also similar to folks that are super duper into like GTA Online, where trying to jump into it super vanilla, nothing makes sense. But for the people that have really like been in the trenches in these ecosystems of GTA Online, stuff also 100% makes sense to them. And I feel like it's too late for me, yo.
No. It can be hard to catch up when a game is like Warframe just had its 9th anniversary.
Wow.
And right. On
That's
top
crazy.
of that, right.
Yeah.
Congrats.
And and every time I go back to Warframe, it's the same story of just like, I got all these suits and I leveled one up to max level, which I guess means I should stop using it, but it's also the only one I found that I liked. And so I don't know what mission I'm supposed to be doing. And there's a space shooter in here somewhere now. I need to craft a space, like a different glider, a space shoot, there's a bunch of wild shit happening in that game. So I think but that's just a matter of like, you stick with a game long enough, you will pick that shit up. If I played Fortnite multiple times a week, eventually that stuff would seem like second nature. Same with Warframe. Eventually you get over the hump on that stuff. Like I can describe, and I'm not perfect at it anymore because it's not like I play it all that often, but I can describe more systems than I should be able to for Phantasy Star Online 2 New Genesis, because I spent 20 hours in that thing and I go like, okay, this is a fucking, like, I can tell someone this is a fucking nightmare. You don't need to really worry about this. Just go out there and shoot stuff and pick up what you can as you go, and maybe it'll make sense eventually. But like, there's, I don't know. There's just a lot of there's a lot of games, a lot of live games, a lot of games that make it years and years in. At some point, they have to keep freshening things up for the existing player base, and that all makes sense. But like, it just gets further and further away from the light as far as like trying to understand it from a new player level and all that sort of stuff.
I had partied up with my little cousin who is 13. And after playing 2 games with me in Fortnite, we eventually bounced back to the regular mode, I guess. He left our party because I was holding him back too much. Because he would be like we would bop a dude, pick up all his stuff, and then he would just, like, you know, in cartoons, like the dust cloud of like fists rolling around everywhere, that'd be him picking stuff up and throwing stuff away. Meanwhile, I'm like trying to figure out how to drag stuff out of my inventory and like, hey, is this something I drink now? No. Oh, okay. You're going. All right, you're gone. Okay, cool.
Aww, Grandpa.
What did he say as he left? He was just like, you suck shit, I gotta go. Or like, how does he get out of that part? He's like, I gotta go do something else. And you just see he's still online.
Yeah. How diplomatic was he?
He was like, oh, I gotta do homework, Cleodra. I'm sorry, bye. Meanwhile, I just see him online still, and I'm just gritting my teeth.
No, really? I mean, you should take a picture of that and send it to him. Just be like,
I regret.
I might be older than you, motherfucker, but like, I know how to play this game.
I get it. I understand why you did this to me. But fucking tell me to my face next time.
I can take it.
A little jerk.
Yeah, that's fucked up. Jess, you've been sticking with Elden Ring. How's that going? Still progressing?
Feeling
still making
good.
Things happen?
Feeling like I'm getting good. Feeling proud. I beat General Radahn at level 60, about 60 hours in. I'm kind of liking how my level has been coinciding with my hours. It's very satisfying to me. It's been a nice coincidence as I work my way up. And it was post patch though, so I'm not that good. My partner beat him pre-patch and said it was a total nightmare. But I've been told that like beating him at level 60 is pretty respectable anyway, so I'm feeling pretty
Don't
nice
worry about
myself.
These metrics, and you play the game you want to play. Stop, enjoy yourself.
That's what you wanted to do, and but you can.
But you enjoy yourself.
Yeah, I don't know exactly how the patch changed Radahn. I think your summons that you can. So the gimmick of this fight, you're in a big desert, and this motherfucker Radahn is like 5,000 feet away, sniping you with the biggest fuck off bow you've ever seen in your life. And you can summon a bunch of other NPCs to come and help you fight this guy because he's such a chufty boy. And it feels like before the patch, because I did attempt to put a little dent in him before the patch happened, before I was like, I'm fucking off, this sucks. It feels like the NPCs that you were summoning were not really doing much damage at all. This time, however, I beat him on the second attempt at fighting him, and it feels like the NPCs are way more powerful, or Radahn has less health, I don't know, but they're able to get like a third of his health bar down before I even really approached him and started flinging magic stuff at him. So I'm not really sure. I know they nerfed his projectiles because they did insane damage, but not really super sure what they changed, but still feels good to beat that guy. And now I've got a whole other thing, a whole other stuff. All these other quests are opening up to me all of a sudden because he was kind of like a bit of a choke point for the plot and stuff like that. So
right on.
Yeah.
Well, that's going to do it for video games. They're done.
Thank God.
Nice knowing you.
Yeah, nice knowing you, video games. We got this. I'll get into this news story here before we get into news proper. But video games are over. Fast and Furious Crossroads is getting delisted from all storefronts on April 29th.
Pack it up. Pack it up.
That's
What about
it.
the family.
I know. We're done. We're done here.
What is Paul Scheer gonna do now?
He'll figure something out. They're still charging $70 for a deluxe version of that game. So,
Okay.
That game never went on any kind of meaningful sale, as far as I know. It was always an insane amount of money for an awful video game. So get it while you can. They say the servers will remain up and all other stuff, but I doubt they'll put it on sale now, because now they're like, anyone that's dumb enough to buy this thing is dumb enough to pay full price for it. So go out and enjoy that. How about we take a break and we'll come back. We'll get into the rest of the news after this.
All right.
All right, it's time for an announcement. We are excited to announce that Manscaped has launched their Ultra Premium Collection. Believe it or not, it's for your not-so-private parts. What? Yeah, I know. You think of Manscaped as the, the area, the zone, trimming up the balls, the pubic zone. Manscaped, rulers of the pubic zone, is how we've often thought. But no, they're expanding, and now they're thinking about your entire body. That's right, a leveled up hygiene routine with your favorite manly scent. This is an all-in-one skin and hair care kit for the everyday man, covering you from head to toe. That's right. You can join the 4 million men worldwide who trust Manscaped by going to manscaped.com for 20% off and free shipping with the code Bombcast. Now, if you've been using, you know how essential Manscaped's Lawnmower 4.0 can be for that precise trim below the waist. And they've got advanced skin-safe technology designed to reduce cuts to your most delicate areas. That's a good, yeah, you don't want cuts. You don't want cuts anywhere. Unless you're into that, but I don't want it. Now you can enhance your perfect grooming routine with this Ultra Premium Collection. What is in this package? I'm glad you asked. Manscaped Premium Deodorant. This is deodorant for your armpits. This is not, you don't rub this on your this is not for the taint. This is for your armpits. It dries clear, it's aluminum free, and smells like their signature scent. What else? Hydrating body moisturizer. Do you have tattoos or issue with dry skin? This is designed to keep skin feeling clean, smooth, and smelling fresh. There's also a body wash to lather you up with their infused aloe vera and sea salt shower gel. There's a 2-in-1 shampoo and conditioner. You can clean your scalp with an easy one-step. Who's got time for shampoo and then you put them together, 2-in-1. Plus, there's a free gift, a 3-pack set of lip balm that's made with ingredients such as vitamin E, peppermint, and eucalyptus oil to keep those chappers feeling moist. That's 4 products and a gift inside the Ultra Premium Collection. Wow. All of these products are cruelty-free, paraben-free, vegan-friendly, and dye-free. The best ingredients with zero compromise. Now, getting dressed after this is optional. You can wear one great scent all day long and get that Ultra Premium Collection hot off the shelves. How? I'm glad you asked. You can get 20% off with free shipping with the code BOMBCAST at manscaped.com. That's 20% off plus free shipping with the code BOMBCAST at manscaped.com. The power of attraction is now in a bottle thanks to Manscaped. Welcome back. Now it's time to get into the rest of the news. A very big morning for news today. Nice to get some big headlines right before the podcast drops, though this one came in as we were recording here. Probably the biggest news. The third Gundam conference begins announcing the Gundam Metaverse project.
Oh no!
Holy smokes.
I have received, Jan, I've forwarded you some, I've forwarded you an image about the Bandai Namco ID and Gundam.
Yep, here it is for folks watching at home.
Okay. I'm just going to read some chunk of this because it's just, it keeps going. Updates and announcements for Gundam Open Innovation from Gouda, the Gundam-powered sustainability project seeking to resolve social issues.
The fuck?
Gouda?
Gundam, you know, the big robots that they get in and they fight, and some of them turn into jets.
No, I know what they are,
Yeah.
but what,
I
I
never
forgot.
knew they
I
had
forgot
an agenda.
that you are an anime man.
expert now. Yes.
Okay, I'm just gonna read large swaths of this press release because it's like there are so many good phrases in here and just good little. Okay, Bandai Namco Group's company-wide project Gundam Project started today with Bandai Namco Group CGO Chief Gundam Officer and Gundam Business Supervisor Koji Fujiwara taking the stage to start the third Gundam conference. This is the third conference where announcements have been made to start new projects focusing on the worldwide strategy, brand, and titles, and Gouda to increase the value of Gundam as an IP and to nurture the Gundam brand into an iconic figure for society. This is I'm all for this. This is okay. If I scroll down here to the very bottom, I think it says what Gouda means. Wait,
is that cheese or
no? Gouda.
Okay.
It's abbreviation of Gundam Universal Century Development Action, a sustainability project that seeks to face social issues through the Gundam brand.
Isn't it Gukda then?
Yeah.
Where did the C go?
Well, Universal Century, they usually abbreviate it to UC when they're talking Gundam talk. That's their timeline.
Okay.
If they had another D, Jess, where would they be from?
The
Gouda.
What?
Come on.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
The Gouda.
This is a really interesting diagram.
Too tired.
Yeah.
This diagram says close to nothing.
Gundam's in the middle here, and then you got Gunpla up there. You got a virtual community. All four of these quadrants have virtual communities: anime, Gunpla, game, music.
Okay.
I only like Gundam music, but through the power of the Bandai Namco ID, maybe I'll get into Gunpla. For worldwide strategy, Bandai Namco Group's key initiatives under the midterm vision Connect with Fans will begin April 2022. Prospects were announced for the Gundam Metaverse project, a new initiative seeking to connect the Gundam IP with fans. For the brand title project, the latest information was shared for the 2022 new television animation release, Mobile Suit Gundam: The Witch from Mercury. For the Gouda project, updates have been announced for Gundam Open Innovation, a program that aims to fulfill future dreams and hopes by applying the ideals in Gundam to work towards a sustainable future and facing various social issues.
Big robot for president.
Yes, it's big. Zaku 2 has my vote. Wait, did I just?
God,
I chose the wrong side again.
The Gouda project sounds delicious, but I know it's not cheese.
Yeah,
smoked.
Yeah,
It's just like
nice.
related to human instrumentality somehow. It's got kind of a ring to it that seems sinister.
Sort of, probably. I don't know. There's a lot of like just things in quotes in here that when you read them, you're like, that's a project name that someone thought to put in front of people. So there's a bit of a chart here now that says worldwide strategy, the Gundam Metaverse project, project goals, moving closer to side G, and that's in quotes.
That's cool. I mean, it's undeniably cool. Like, this is undeniably cool.
Yes, I love everything I'm seeing here because it's a beautiful fucking nonsense here. Brand title, new television animation, The Witch from Mercury, Gundam Open Innovation updates, project partners for the future arrival of Universal Century decided. Result announcement at the Expo 2025, Osaka Kansai, Japan Pavilion. Okay, project goals. You want to hear about the project goals for the Gundam Metaverse project?
Please.
Yeah, man.
Great. Bandai Namco Group will be following a new purpose. Fun for all into the future.
Finally.
Also in quotes. from April 2022, which defines Bandai Namco Group's mission in seeking joy and happiness for the future by delivering fun and excitement to people worldwide. Under this new purpose, Bandai Namco Group will start with a midterm plan and the new vision, connect with fans, so that the company can become a hub that connects more deeply, broadly, and in a more enjoyable way to IP fans, partners, group employees, and society worldwide. They're bringing Gundam to they're gonna bring Gundam to the people, Billy Graham style.
I know they didn't mention anything about cryptocurrency, but it sounds like they did.
This sounds like a pitch that is going to end in like a Gundam token or something. I agree with you that this is like, I feel like I showed up at a fucking a mid-tier hotel ballroom on a Saturday afternoon, and they're like, they do have cupcakes and coffee here, and that's nice. And oh god, I accidentally sat through this whole Gundam presentation, and now I've got to sign up 4 of my friends to help me make Gundam fun, connect with fans, fun for all into the future.
This is like halfway between like a manifesto and like an MLM pitch. Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, looking at the graphic again, and I'm sorry for people listening to the audio, but this does kind of look like a pyramid scheme.
Mm-hmm.
We start with Gundam. We go out to Bandai Namco ID. Then we go to games, Gunpla, anime, and music. And then we appease those virtual communities. This isn't a Venn diagram, right? This is like a...
No, it's not.
No.
It's like they're using Gundam to bring the power of all these quadrants. These virtual communities will meld with the world of Gundam, as the virtual spaces will be made in the form of space colonies, which will be connected to the Gundam Metaverse Space Hub under the name Side G. Plans are underway to build more space colonies themed after a variety of Side G categories, such as anime, Gunpla, games, music, and more, which will be launched into the virtual space.
Oh.
Bandai Namco Group will go beyond conventional digital services and use its strengths to merge digital and physical worlds, so please look forward for more to come.
Like, that's just like, oh man, it's amazing that someone wrote that all down.
I'm glad they're finally shifting gears and they're going to finally focus on fun.
Yeah,
right?
It's about time that Namco did something that was fun. Enough with these games where you just like walk out and then a guy murders you.
Yeah.
Let's have a good time for a change. The Gundam Metaverse project, moving closer to Side G. This is a whole separate section.
Oh.
Gunpla Colony. The first launch for the completion of Side G will be the Gunpla Colony, where various Gunpla-related experiences will be made available within the virtual world. Test runs were held in 2021 for the project, the Gundam-based virtual world, where people can converge from around the world to enjoy the virtual Gunpla entertainment space.
These are all words, but do they mean things when put together? Is the question?
Is there a virtual Gunpla building club?
The Gunpla Colony will bring entertainment to the virtual space by merging digital and physical worlds with Gunpla Battle, where fans can scan their Gunpla to face others in battle, hosting Gunpla contest events and providing Gunpla lessons online.
This is Space Jam 2. This is Space Jam 2.
For people that don't know, Gunpla is an insane word, it means statues. It means models. You bought some Gundam models and put them together, and they're super cool and. It is a fun word to say.
I think they've been hacked. This sounds like they've been hacked, and they.
Yeah, this is whatever company hacked NVIDIA is sending this stuff out to you.
Yeah.
The next section is Esports Colony.
Stay away from there. Don't call it.
I do not want to go there. That's
do
the
not go to the Esports Colony.
They all have
stinkiest
weird
one.
jerseys, and everyone is like just mad.
Oh shit!
You know how Australia was initially formed? We're doing this is going to end up being new Australia. This is like we're going to take all the esports criminals and they're going to have to go live over here away from society, and we hope they don't get out. Put them on the island where all the scorpions and huge spiders are. Next in line is the launch of the Esports Colony, which is currently in development for completion in 2023. To mark the beginning of the Esports Colony, the Gundam Evolution first-person shooter game will officially launch in 2022. The title will incorporate the best of Gundam to provide the pinnacle of entertainment and establish itself as the Gundam brand's first esports-centric FPS game.
Let's go.
Yeah. And then they talk about another game and Gundam Evolution taking the lead. There will be a PC version network test. So, okay, some actual video game information there for a sec. The next section, promote the entry of other companies and C2C business in Gundam. In the near future, I don't.
Company.
Like ocean
so.
to ocean or sea?
Is that C, the letter C? So I guess instead of B to B, they've decided to use the word C to C because I guess
C to shining
Namco
sea.
or Crips. I don't know if that's they're like, no, we're not using B to B. This is C to C, cuz. In the near future, Bandai Namco Group will urge companies other than the Bandai Namco Group to join the Gundam market and allow general users to conduct C2C businesses using the Gundam brand in the form of user-generated content. Okay, so maybe C2C is customer to customer, like consumer to consumer.
Oh,
So maybe
that
that's
whole
like
sentence
all right.
sounded like a threat of some sort.
It will urge companies other than the Bandai Namco Group. By building a metaverse in which character rights are preserved and implementing this initiative, it expects that new Gundam businesses will be created and that this will lead to further expansion of Gundam IP co-created with fans.
Are they offering like chain opportunities to open up Gundams? Like, hey, if you want to
you're gonna
franchise
open
out
up your own Gundam,
Or-
but hey,
or
this
are they
is a
offering-
metaverse in which character rights will be preserved, so we still own all that shit.
I'm waiting for it to drop. The blockchain? Any second
You know,
now?
we are only halfway through this, so
Where's the buzzwords? What? I'm sorry to keep interrupting. Jesus Christ, go ahead.
the Gundam Metaverse project will build Side G by launching space colonies for each available categories. Bandai Namco Group will create a new economic domain to promote C2C businesses with an invitation for other companies to join a virtual space where Gundam fans around the world can enjoy the virtual world together as part of their daily lives.
Oh, okay, I get it now. I get it.
In order to grow to an even larger scale after 2026, Bandai Namco Group will promote the development of each colony with the Gundam Metaverse as a pillar of the group. Please look forward for more to come.
Please.
And then they talk about the new anime, Witch of Mercury.
Cool.
And then there's some Gouda project announcements. Gundam Open Innovation updates. Project partners for the future arrival of Universal Century decided. I'm going to just skim this to see. Oh, they're opening an application period. An open invitation was made to gather a broad range of innovative ideas and technologies in relation to the sustainable themes and domains that could help future society deal with the same challenges as the Gundam world, such as overpopulation, environmental destruction, and space colonization. From July to October, they're going to be accepting applications as to how you're going to solve the world's problems with Gundam.
Have they watched their own media?
I figure if you watch Gundam enough times, it probably tells you how to solve these problems. You build big spacefaring robots that can turn into space jets, and you blow each other up.
Wow, cool robots.
That is how peace is. Hey, if we achieve peace through cool robots, I would trust a Gundam more than I trust those fucking weird dog robots that they're like, oh, here's a funny animated gif of this dancing robot that we just made it dance. It's certainly not going to fucking break your fucking neck.
We have to
Raytheon
trust
presents.
Do we have to trust those Boston Dynamics robots? Is that what you're saying?
I think they want us to trust the Boston Dynamics robots and not be like, okay, these are the things that are going to fucking put their boots to our necks when they decide that fucking human cops are no longer to be on the streets.
Oh, gotcha.
Okay, would you be of a different mind if those robot dogs were huge and you could pilot them?
Yes.
Like Horizon style.
Or a Zoid, perhaps.
Yes.
Zoid, yeah.
Okay. Yes, I would, yes. And then that's pretty much. When using the Gundam Metaverse image, please use the following legal line: copyright Sotsu Sunrise MBS. Always display the appropriate legal line noted above with the copyright mark when displaying images and other materials. So we are going to let users make their own Gundams, but please respect our IP.
All you side G's out there.
Oh yeah, if you're trying to get to side G, respect that IP.
Yep.
Well, congrats to them on their announcement of their plans for world domination of some sort.
No, they're fixing. No, they're fixing everything. They're not dominating.
This is wild.
It's
What is the second image you sent me though, Jeff?
That second image is the Gundam-based virtual world. We covered that. That's where people can converge from around the world to enjoy in the virtual gunplay entertainment space.
What if Gundam is your shit right now, and you have this levied upon you? What do you do? Like, what do you do if the thing you love so much has just said this out loud?
I don't know. this they didn't mention. There was another Gundam project that I learned of very recently where they're taking. So I've not watched Gundam. I intend
Somebody's
to
got to
watch
check on Pat Bear.
Yeah, I believe he is now officially part of the metaverse. I think
hope.
By law.
Yeah.
Gundam if he truly is to respect the IP, then I believe he has to by default join the metaverse. So
I'm sorry, people are reacting with the answers to my question, and everyone's like, "Yeah, we hate our lives now." We're Gundam people.
So I have been meaning to watch original 70s Gundam, the actual genuine original article. But the thing that holds me up is that there's a single episode of the original run that was not included in the English release. And they never really got into the specifics of why. People theorize it's because some of the animations are off-brand and that it's kind of a throwaway episode anyway, about an island and I believe child soldiers or something like that. It's not necessarily relevant to the main story they're telling. But there's a part of me that's just like, well, I should track down a copy of that episode and watch it in sequence with the other episodes if I'm going to watch this and if I'm really going to take this seriously and all this, and I have not done that. And so that's gotten me a good free pass to not watch Gundam yet. They are going to turn that episode into a brand new movie. They're taking Kukuru's Doan's Island, which is, I guess, the original name of the episode of the show that, has kind of been deleted, and they're going to blow it out into some kind of full film of some kind at some point here, which that's the Gundam news I read recently. It's like, Gundam's still doing it. And then this dropped. And I'm like, Gundam is... We are all on side G now.
Am I imagining that there is a cruise that you can go on that has a Gundam on it? I'm just imagining that, right?
It's probably a Gundam cruise. Yeah. There was the big Gundam statue. I don't know if it's still there. The Gundam statue that they put up in Japan.
Sure.
Did it walk away?
Daiba.
Yeah. And that always looked cool.
I feel like the last 15 minutes of this conversation has felt like when you have a dream and you can't hold a conversation in the dream, and they're just saying nonsense at you. That's what it feels like.
Yeah. That's how it felt to receive that email just before we went to break. And it's been a lot. And I'm only stalling because, of course, the company stuff logged me out again, and I can't pull up the rest of the news stories until I do my two-factor auth here.
G Gundam's good. Everyone watched G Gundam.
Maybe I'll get to it someday. I don't know. Gundam seems like it'd be really cool.
Really like Endless Waltz.
Sure.
I'm a Gundam wing gentleman.
Shining finger. Do, 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 do.
I just Metaverse pitches have sounded like complete nonsense at the best of times, at the best, the truest, like Metaverse pitches have already sounded like fucking garbage from people who have no idea what they're talking about. And this Gundam one is at least going for it in the most insane way possible. And I want to live in that future where we are all connected through Gundam somehow. That sounds way better than we are all connected through Facebook somehow.
It seems like the lesser of all these evils. Yeah.
So, in short, sign me the fuck up.
Yep.
I'm on side G for life.
I mean, side G is that's just fucking cool. Like, they didn't even mean it, but it's fucking cool.
Yeah. A lot of these words and phrases, when you look at it, sound cool in the way that, like, it's like the thing they are kind of occasionally going for in the Tunic manual, where there's just enough English for you to make out and go like, oh man, that sounds fucking crazy.
Yeah.
Like it is the you bought a Japanese PS1 game and held it up and you're like, I'm not even sure what the real name of this game is, but the subtitle is like Psycho Murder Man, and we're gonna play this, and I don't even know what the fuck it is, and and it sounds cool.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Also happening today. Not that anything could live up to the third Gundam conference beginning, but Sony has announced plans to revamp PlayStation Plus.
Here we go.
Yeah, this is the Project Spartacus we have been hearing so much about for so long. basically, a lot of the stuff that Jeff Grubb of Grub Snacks fame put out there is dead on. They are going to break it out into 3 tiers. This, in some ways, combines PlayStation Now and PlayStation Plus, but there is some additional stuff here. The base tier is called PlayStation Plus Essential, which is the same as the existing service and the same price, $60 a year. You'll still get your like PlayStation Plus games monthly, and all that, and you can play online and all that other stuff. The middle tier is $100 a year, and this adds a catalog of up to 400 asterisk of the most enjoyable PS4 and PS5 games, including blockbuster hits from our PlayStation Studios catalog and third-party partners. And these are downloadable PS4 and PS5 games. This is not cloud streaming. And that is the middle tier, $100 a year. The high tier, the premium tier, adds up to 340 asterisk additional games, including PlayStation 3 games, but these are available only via cloud streaming. You will not run PS3 games locally
That sucks.
on a PlayStation 5. It does suck. I have not tried PlayStation Now in a pretty long time, but I feel like every time I did try it, the latency sucked. It was not a fun experience. It was not as good as even Stadia and the xCloud stuff. Like, it was a step behind that even. So it was just like not a quality experience. So hopefully they'll step that up. This will also come with a catalog of beloved classic games available in both streaming and download options from the original PlayStation, PS2, and PSP generations.
Okay, talk my language.
And the high tier, but wait, there's more. You will also be able to stream those PS1, PS2, PSP, and PS4 games. You will be able to play via stream if you so desire.
Okay.
As a part of this tier, assuming you live in a country where PlayStation Now is currently available. They will bring the streaming to PC. I don't know that they have brought PlayStation Now to the PC or not. I haven't kept tabs on that, but you will be able to play it from a PS4, a PS5, or PC with this stuff. They will also offer time-limited game trials so that customers can try select games before they buy. That tier is that tier is $120 per year. And it launches in June.
Oh, real soon.
Yeah, it'll be a phased regional rollout. Sounds like Japan may get it a little bit ahead of North America. They have not really put out a long list of games here, but as part of their announcement, they did say at launch we plan to include titles such as Death Stranding, God of War, Marvel's Spider-Man, Miles Morales, Mortal Kombat 11, and Returnal. And that's the long and short of it. If you live in a country that doesn't get PlayStation Now streaming, they will have a cheaper version of their high-end tier, since they are not going to immediately offer the streaming there. So that's, in some regions, that is a secret fourth option, or I guess a secret different third option. And all right, so that's their play. How's it hit you?
They're not going to have first party like day one.
No,
they're not.
They are not. Are these PlayStation, PS1, PS2, and PSP games going to be downloadable? Like, can you purchase them yourselves?
Oh, I don't know, but
I doubt it.
The language
is possible, but
yeah, the language is that you will be able to stream or download those, but only stream PS3.
This is a choice.
And
okay,
not that it. Okay, it does say you can use a PS4 to get these PS2.
Yeah, any of the streaming stuff you can do on PS4, PS5, and PC. The download stuff obviously is going to, you can run PS4 games on a PS5 just like you can. Right. But yes.
I don't know. I think I need to see like a list of games.
Yeah,
sure.
100%.
Because I mean, like that division of whatever big number they're throwing out could be really heavily loaded towards like PS2 and like I don't know, I want a specific PSP game or something. Like I want to
Yeah.
check out Metal Gear Acid. Or
Oh yeah,
something
that
like
would be cool if
Yeah.
that was. Yeah, I you know, these services, when you get down to the realities of putting these games back out again, especially games with licensed soundtracks or other kind of licensed content that makes that a business deal and not just something where you just flip a switch. You know, are they gonna do that work? You know, are they gonna put, you know, Tony Hawk 1? Can I download Tony Hawk 3 on this and then connect to servers and play it online? For
they're
example,
a little light on that.
like no, like almost certainly no.
Yeah.
Will SOCOM come to this? That would be, you know, that's something where they probably don't have to worry about license stuff, but it would be fun if you could play SOCOM 2 on this thing, but only if they decide to run new multiplayer servers to make that work.
Right.
Yeah. Or is like that games count gonna get bloated by like 3 different versions of Tony Hawk Pro Skater 3, PS1, PS2, and PSP?
Right. Yeah. Which I would love to see that be the problem, though. Like if it was bloated in a way where it's like, hey, do you want to play the Japanese versions of these because we've got them? Like, sure.
I don't see them providing those options, though. I don't
either.
Yeah.
In some cases, it'll be like, hey, we've got a like different music licensing for the Japanese version, or you know, and Jazz Rack sucks to deal with, and all that sort of stuff. But yeah, it would be great. Yeah, I don't know. I think without the presence of here's all of our first party games on day one, this thing just feels like it is not in the same league as Game Pass, and the price seems a little steep. I mean, this sounds a little bit more like Nintendo's thing, but you know, they're launching with hundreds of games instead of like 12. There's an interview with Jim Ryan, who is the CEO of PlayStation, over at gamesindustry.biz, and I think the relevant quote here, I mean, they get it out of the way. It's like the first, it's like paragraph 3. It's like the first thing they ask is like, so not doing this, huh? He says, we feel like we are in a good virtuous cycle with studios where the investment delivers success, which enables yet more investment, which delivers yet more success. We like that cycle and think our gamers like that cycle. That's right, players. You love paying $70
I'm
for
not
these games.
your gamers.
You love paying $70 for these games. He continues, in terms of putting our own games onto this service or any of our services upon their release, as you well know, this is not a road we've gone down in the past, and it's not a road we're going to go down with this new service. We feel if we were to do that with the games that we make at PlayStation Studios, that virtuous cycle will be broken. The level of investment that we need to make in our studios would not be possible, and we think the knock-on effect on the quality of the games that we make would not be something that gamers want. So,
Well,
I mean,
at least they're being upfront about like, this is not as good of a value. Right?
Yes, totally. Yeah. I mean, yes, they are not hiding the fact that they are not going to put the games on their service. I feel like that there's some middle ground here with this stuff where they could say, hey, we're going to do it in 90 days, or hey, we're going to do it in, you know, some kind of better communication about when those games will show up on the service. Because obviously Returnal is showing up, Miles Morales, like, you know, there will be first party games on this service. It'd be nice to have some kind of insight into when and have that be a set thing that you could count on.
So what I don't understand is how Microsoft is able to make the calculus of like, it's way better when everyone pays us for for Game Pass. And Sony's like, we did that same math problem and it actually doesn't work for us.
I think it's Microsoft has ground to make up.
Totally, but like
they are a little more willing, I think, to throw some money around to make this work and to take that loss and to get people in the ecosystem and make it work. And they've said that it's not really hitting them that hard and and all this other stuff. But you hear stories about how, you know, they paid millions of dollars to get Guardians of the Galaxy on Game Pass and stuff like that. But I think it's, you know, Sony is in a position where they don't necessarily have to do it right now. And also, I think if you look at the types of games that Sony likes to put out there and the types of games that Microsoft likes to put out there, Microsoft's games often have more of a split focus with single player and multiplayer, and the multiplayer gives it longer legs, and the multiplayer gives it microtransactions and all that sort of stuff, to where it behooves them to get as many people in the door as possible. Like Halo launched free to play, you know, for a reason, right? Because they're like, fuck it, we'll make it up on the back end. And so I think that they are looking at those sorts of things, but we'll see. You know, they acquired Bethesda, so we've got a situation where like Starfield and some other games, you know, that is a studio that specializes in big, expensive single player games. And I think that that's probably where the calculus changes. Is Sony looks at it and goes, we need to protect the cost of our game, the price of our games as much as we possibly can, and throwing them into this service when we've just decided we want to start making $70 on them instead of $60. Probably just doesn't fit with where they're at. Also, they're not as aligned in when it comes to being a services based company. There's more stuff in this interview where he talks about live service games being almost a subscription unto themselves. So, hey, if we're going to get more into that space, like, and players are already used to thinking of these things as a separate subscription, do we want to put them in this? Is that confusing? Is that bad business? You know, there's a little bit of hemming and hawing around that stuff too. But I almost wonder if you're like, okay, for a live service game, aren't you better off just getting, like, making sure it has a strong player base out of the gate? Let's, you know, extreme case here, Babylon's Fall. The most extreme of cases. If that game was on a service where you could just play it for $0 additional, more people would be playing it right now than there are.
100%.
And not that would necessarily turn that game around or salvage it, but it creates a situation where you're probably a little bit more likely to play it if you know that there are other people playing it that you can matchmake with, that you can have the intended experience.
It's an easy sell on your group of friends.
Yes, exactly. It's something that you at least try out and stuff like that. So where, you know, and so maybe when Sony does that math, they go, oh, when we start getting into our live service games, maybe those will be on that service day and date, or maybe those will come to that service way faster because at the end of the day, we would love to make $70 off as many people as possible, but also this game's going to have a 10-year life cycle. Let's get as many people in and hooked so that we can, you know, sell them content for years and years to come. So yeah, I don't know.
Do you think with this premium tier, the highest tier they have here, where they're talking about all these games available, do you think it's going to be right out the gate when the service or the tiered service launches, or are they going to be rolled out in waves, kind of like how Nintendo's haphazardly tried to do it per console?
I hope they do it all at once. I think if they were to do it in waves and launch with like 20 games, then this is a waste of my time. You know, like, this thing only works in bulk. This thing only works if you're like, I gave you $120 a year and you dumped 700 games on me.
Yeah.
Then you're like, okay, like, I don't love all these games, but damn, there's a lot of them. I think that's a much easier sell than like, oh, well, we're only launching with this many and we're going to ramp up over time. And I'm sure these games will phase in and out the same way they do on Game Pass, especially the third party stuff, where it makes sense. But like, yeah, I don't know. I need to know more about what sort of PlayStation 2 and PSP games they intend to put on this service.
Right, because I think currently one of the things that bugged me is there's a version of Ape Escape. It's like the PAL version and not like the US version. So
right. Yep. Yes.
How are we going to distinguish between that? Like, what is the version, or is it just based regionally where you're located?
Yeah. Well, I think they did that PAL version because they only ported it once and the work was done in the UK. So I think they just ported the PAL version of the game out of the gate. So yes, you would hope that would be not a problem on the other side of this. I would love to know if these older games will magically get trophies of some kind.
Oh,
that's a lot of work for that number of games. So I doubt it. And I would love to have some kind of promise isn't the word. So PlayStation 3 stuff only being available via streaming sucks.
Yeah.
And the PlayStation 5 is powerful enough to at least run some PlayStation 3 games natively if they did the work. It's not, that's not flip a switch. That's, but like, obviously hobbyist emulation is out there. The PlayStation 3 runs surprisingly well on modern PCs, and the PlayStation 5 is a powerful device. It stands to reason that if they did the work, they could get there. This just feels like they are not willing to invest in this service enough to do that work, which doesn't feel good out of the gate.
I think that's been clear for a while, right? Like, I don't think they see the value there. And I assume they have their reasons, but
and it's probably, they're probably right. I figure if you do the math on this and go like, hey, the amount of work it would take for us to build a quality PlayStation 3 emulator that runs on PS5 and doesn't require us to dick around with every single game that we want to support.
Yeah.
That's a lot of work.
Do you know how hard it is to download a cell processor? Do you know?
I do, because I've got one right here, man. We could be playing 50 Cent, Blood on the Sand.
Is it on Side G? I loaded it there.
Yeah, plug it into Side G.
You side loaded it on Side G.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. Like, this is exactly what they, what it was tipped off to be, and yet somehow with the official announcement of this, I can't help but be at least a little disappointed.
They at least need a list of games. Like,
yes, they do.
It's just weird to announce this and not name a bunch of names.
Well, they've got a couple months. Like, you don't have to do it right now.
I know, but
yeah, and
it's hard to get excited at the announcement of this without having some franchises to get your hype level up.
Will they do any work to, there's a lot of things you can do to a PlayStation 1 game in this day and age that is like fascinating.
Like what?
Like, you can run it at a much higher resolution than intended, which sharpens it up in some really fascinating ways. You can also run like a perspective correction pass on it. That, remember how the PlayStation 1 had all those swimmy vertices and all the geometry just looked like it was constantly vibrating? You can filter that out. It's not, you can fix that now in emulation, and it's not perfect. Some games, when you go turn that emulation on a PC, it completely breaks. And so again, it's a situation where someone would have to sit down and go, okay, what features does this support? Can we do an auto HDR? Can we do is there some kind of other stuff we can do? I would just love to just hear that they were working on making this a more interesting service than I feel like anytime Sony has done any kind of old platform selling you our old games digitally sort of service, it's been really bare bones, and you end up in situations where it's like, here's the PAL version, I guess, and you're like, you fucked up, like, this is bad. And so it's hard to have a ton of faith in that expensive tier.
I've seen this get mentioned a couple times in the chat, but it is kind of wild to roll out this huge change to their service as a blog post versus like a state of play type of thing, where
there's, like I said, there's still time. Like, I feel like that's probably gonna happen.
And like, it really, it's a chart. I mean, it should just be a chart if they're not gonna have the details. So I think to be able to support a full video, they would have to have a lot of this stuff ready to show. And I don't know, they've been running tests for I
also want to know more.
Maybe
I also want to know more about, like, they sent out an email that said we'll automatically migrate you to an equivalent subscription plan. But I want to know if you can, like, if you have some like stored up, can you use that to the premium? Like, how's that all work?
Yeah, Microsoft was very generous when it came to like turning your time into higher tiered time and all this other stuff. But again, I feel like Microsoft has been doing a lot of stuff like that because they had just a lot of ground to make up.
Yeah, they've been in make good mode for a while. Yeah.
So it makes sense where they're like, hey, you can get this shit for $1. Just sign up, damn it. So Sony, I think, Sony views itself as not needing to do that stuff, and so they don't.
Like, don't forget, we make money.
Yeah. And I think that's the long and short of it. Like, when you look at this, you see a Sony that does not feel that they need to do anything more than this to get your money. So I don't know. We'll see the details, and obviously that'll matter. Hey, while we're on the subject here, though, we're never getting Vita games on anything ever, are we?
Do you think that, like, PSP doesn't also include Vita, though?
No, because
No.
PSP does not include a touch screen or back touch or any of the other control stuff that they would have to solve to put Vita games on it.
That's the thing. Like the Vita, it was its own unicorn.
Yeah.
You're just gonna have to live with that, folks.
The Vita is fucked up in ways that, like, getting those games running on anything else is going to be.
What if
hassle.
I just tape 2 PS5 controllers together? That's like a back touch right there, front touch with a
Yep,
little
you got
pad.
it, Jan.
Boom.
Mhm.
That's how it's
Unlocked
gonna
it.
work.
Yeah.
You got it, baby.
People should have always known that too. Even when they were in love with the Vita when it was out, both of those people should have been like, "Hey, this will never get played on any other platform ever.
Yeah.
It's just too specific." And
Yeah.
you know, I don't know. There's good games on Vita. Don't get me wrong, but sorry.
Where? Which ones? I mean, Frobisher says is great, but
Yes,
that's where
and
it stops.
Tearaway.
Okay, yeah, Tearaway. Yeah.
And
They did it. They did a
Yes, they did.
They did a PS3
Yep.
Tearaway where they're like,
Yep.
what if we took out all the cool stuff?
They rescued it. Yeah,
Yeah.
they rescued it.
Um,
Yeah, there's a handful. The rest escaped me, but that's not important.
sure.
You know,
And people are pointing out that there is a wild fucking project underway to make Vita games run on a Switch, which is just fucking bananas.
good for those people.
Yeah, it's
let
like
me tell ya.
it's all ARM processors, so it's just like a translation layer or something nuts like that. Anyway, yeah, I just, you know, when you think about the kind of low tier status that PS3 is getting as a part of this service as being only available via streaming, like, you know, if the PS3 is not going to get the work done, the Vita's certainly not going to get the work done. They're not going to do that because they'll have to touch every single, well, not every single game. They could start with like, oh, here are the games we whitelisted for the Vita TV. And that work on a regular controller. They could just do that.
Sure.
But that's not fun. Also not fun, The Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild. Sorry, wait, what did I
You
say?
played it? You played it?
Yeah, it came out
Not
years
fun?
ago.
It's not fun.
It's you know, it's like, I don't know, it's Elden Ring for babies. The sequel to The Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild has been delayed until spring 2023 is the actual news. This game was originally due out this year, and then Nintendo got on Twitter and said, nah.
Okay.
That's okay.
Take their time. Absolutely. There's other stuff that I can play right now.
I didn't want to play it
I'm
on
good.
this Switch anyway, so come on.
Well, I don't know that you'll have a better Switch by then.
I meant the other Switch that I'm gonna buy, not the one I currently have. Yeah, not a new,
Yeah.
not a Switch 2. That's not
okay,
what I'm
I
saying.
was gonna say,
What?
like, that's not, they're not. That ship sailed.
Yeah.
You think they're
Yeah,
shooting
they-
themselves in the foot from like releasing that little teaser trailer however many years ago now?
No.
No?
Do you, I mean, like what? Like to what impactful result?
So like
You know what
people
I'm
are
saying?
just gonna be bummed, and it's gonna just become a running
But-
joke
but,
of
like,
like Breath
peop-
of the Wild
but
2's
people being-
delayed.
But my point is, people being bummed doesn't have like a tangible effect on like the
Right.
business. You know what I mean?
People
Like,
being
people are
bummed
gonna
is like the standard state of mind for fans of Nintendo franchises at this point. Like you're in a constant state of just like, fuck, man. Are they doing this Metroid Prime game or not? Like that is life for these people. So, you know, this just gets them on the roller coaster for another year, I guess.
Plus, you know, I'm still gonna be playing Elden Ring. You know,
Sure.
let's carve out some more space for that game.
Like Genshin Impact, they release characters all the time. Well, not actually
You
all the
know?
time.
Often enough.
Just surprise me with you know. Don't forget too, like Nintendo's good for a couple surprises a year. Like this Kirby game kind of came out of nowhere. I feel like so for the most part, as much as a game can come out of nowhere. Give me like another like you know thing like
I'll be
that,
right
and I'll
back.
be fine. You know, I'll be fine. So just do that.
Mhm.
Oh,
know?
there goes Jeff.
He went
Yeah,
to go
he
find
said-
Zelda too.
Yeah. He
Yeah.
said, "Be right back."
Give me a Captain Toad. Give me another Captain Toad game, but like actiony.
I would love another Captain Toad game. Oh my god, that game is so good.
What are the other bets for like Nintendo releases? Bayonetta 3, is it actually coming out this year?
Damn well better. Damn well better.
Depends which platinum team is actually on it. It looks like the good team.
You would hope so.
Is there a good platinum team left anymore?
Yeah.
I don't know.
I hate to even say it because of how badly I need Bayonetta 3 to be good. For peace for peace in this household, Bayonetta 3 has to be a fantastic video game. Yeah. Anyway, moving on. Grand Theft Auto Online recently launched on current consoles, the PlayStation 5, Xbox Series X. And now they are rolling out GTA Plus, a subscription service for GTA Online players. This is a $5.99 per month service, and it looks like that the benefits may change month to month. They are saying that, if not month to month, then they will rotate some things in and out. But it looks like this is just kind of giving you a stipend of GTA currency, discounts on any further purchases of GTA currency you need to make. Some cosmetics and some stuff. It looked like a lot of the stuff was like already available. It's just like, here, now you get discounts at the car club. You get bonus reputation for this event and 3 times XP for this and you know, some other things like that thrown together for $6 a month. If you're playing that game a ton, I guess that doesn't sound too awful.
Yeah. And this is optional, correct? Yeah, like
totally. Yes, okay. Yes. This is a on top of service. It's not
to clarify.
Plus.
To clarify, my sigh was just like, God damn it! Another news article about just subscriptions and stuff. Like again, everything is being, turned into this format. It just makes me weary.
Yeah. I mean, when the game's free, they'll offer stuff on top of that all over the place to try to get money out of people.
It just feels like the same news over and over again. Like who else? Who next? It's just like again.
Destiny is next. No, I don't know. This is not coming to PC at the current time. They only announced this for consoles. Well, so when they put GTA 5 out on the new consoles, it came with like a revamped sort of intro to GTA 5 to GTA Online and on all this other stuff that they did. It's got ray tracing. It's basically that stuff that the PC version just doesn't have. And so I wonder if they are planning to bring this overhaul to PC at some point and just haven't yet. And as a result of that, they just aren't offering the service. Or I don't know why that would be a holdup per se, because obviously GTA Online is one kind of thing. But yeah, I would figure that this would eventually come to PC alongside some kind of overhaul, like to bring that client is fucking old on PC. Sure. Like they could certainly do some work there if they wanted to overhaul it and give it some longer legs. We will see. The Gran Turismo 7 saga continues.
Oh boy.
There's been another update from Kazunori Yamauchi about some make goods that they're doing for players that are unhappy. The quote is, "We know that this is not the Gran Turismo experience you expect, and we will be making a goodwill gesture in the form of a non-paid credit pack of 1 million credits available to those players who may have been affected." So they had a 30-hour server outage. We talked a little bit about that last week, and people were not happy with that, and people are just not happy with a lot of the monetization and other things around that game. And so this is them trying to find a bunch of different ways to regain control. They have detailed some patches that they are planning. Let's see. They have an early April patch planned that will increase rewards in the events in the latter half of the world circuits by approximately 100% on average. More rewards for basically this is like, oh, we found more spots where we're going to give you more money, because the last patch reduced some of the credits that you would get for races because people were grinding them over and over again to get credits. They have raised the wallet limit from 20 million credits to 100 million credits. They're increasing the quantity of used and legend cars on offer at any given time. That's like stock that rotates in and out because they want to achieve some kind of rarity there. Later in April, they will add more cars and tracks, and then coming later, they will add the ability to sell cars, some limited time events with bigger payouts, and so on. And so that's where they're at with it. I don't know that this helps.
To make
yeah.
Huh.
1 million credits in a game where you just made credits harder to get.
Yep.
Nope.
Yeah.
And considering cars are, in the multiple millions of credits, right?
Yes.
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 Dang. Dang, son.
So this feels like a live service game launched by people that never looked at one of those before. And
yeah, I was gonna say maybe it's good that they acquired Bungie.
Yeah.
That fixed this stuff.
To show up and go like, this is not how you do it. But yeah, it's a weird situation for sure. The PlayStation 5 is also going to get a variable refresh rate in the coming months. And that's something that they announced alongside the latest firmware leaving beta. They ran a beta for that last firmware for a while, and that had different kind of party updates and other stuff like that. Not really a ton in that update, but they, as part of their announcement of that firmware releasing globally and coming out of beta, they finally threw in something about variable refresh rate. This is something they talked about when that console launched, I think. They're like, oh, we're going to support it, and then went almost totally dark on it for a good long time. They showed a screenshot of what the firmware option will look like in there, and it looks like something you could toggle on and off, and also you can enable it on games that don't directly support it. This is something where, this is sort of like how they did boost mode on the PS4 Pro.
Sure.
And all of that sort of stuff. So, you can enable it in games that don't directly support it and see what happens. But this is something that developers will more than likely patch in and support if they so choose. So yeah, I don't know. That's cool. As someone who bought a newfangled TV thinking, oh, these consoles are going to do that, right? I guess that's cool.
That's very
At the same
cool.
time, I feel like I'm no longer even running my PlayStation 5 directly through the TV in a way that allows that stuff to work. Because now I've just got it hooked up to my capture card full time, and it strips out a lot of that stuff. Because I feel like the 120 hertz support has been not great and comes with too many graphical compromises in some games that it just hasn't really felt like too big of a thing.
I mean, I've seen it in action. I can attest that it does make a difference. So I'm excited for this. Yeah,
I love it on the PC. It's great. Like all that G-Sync stuff has been fantastic, and that's been awesome to see. So yes, they should definitely do this, and I hope that works on games that don't directly support it, because I don't know that that's necessarily. I mean, that's something that games kind of have to build in support and all this other stuff. So yeah. Apex Legends has a new season starting today. They just rolled out they're in the process of rolling out, I guess, their next generation versions of the game. This comes on the heels of a gigantic leak. This is, stuff leaks all the time in this business. It's like kind of whatever.
Yep.
But like, I am surprised, like when you go to this leak and look through the stuff, it's like 9 characters. It's like years of content. It's multiple videos. It's information about new maps and all this other stuff. It's a lot of stuff, which is pretty crazy to see. And I don't know. I have downloaded the new versions of that game, but that's a situation where I guess like it is only going to support 60 hertz out of the gate. They're promising 120 hertz down the line. Speaking of new console features and all that other stuff. But yeah, I don't know. Like the details aren't even necessarily all that interesting unless you're like super deep into Apex, because it's like, hey, here's another support named Caliber. Here's another support named Phantom, kind of like information about the characters and what they'll do and all this other stuff. Information about new maps. And it's a lot. It's a big dump of stuff for a game that, is obviously, like, when you think about their cadence for rolling out characters, it's kind of a lot.
And what a huge bummer for them, to have that much content.
That sucks.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm sure. Like the teams that are working on that stuff, I'm sure. Like especially because like that stuff's probably in some big state of flux.
Yep.
And all that sort of stuff. Delay mode here. EA is going to miss this year for golf. Not really any details there. They're just pushing it back a year. Since it's a game focused on the Masters, that probably means it'll be out next spring when the golf starts again. This is them getting back into golf after not doing it for a while.
Just like me.
You're gonna
get back into it. I think this summer.
I thought about it.
I've been playing my whole life, and I just kind of took a break. So me and EA are kind of on the same level here. Not a big deal. Whatever.
Gotcha.
Yeah. Do you feel that golf video games draw you to want to play more golf, or?
I thought they would last year when that 2K one came out, but that was very bad.
Yeah.
And no, there was a time for sure. There definitely was a time. The old my best memories of golf games are like 2004 and 5 Tiger Woods on like GameCube, where you could score like a 35 in a round of those games and just have a lot of fun with that.
Yeah.
That was the heyday for me personally, but I think a really good golf sim has been lacking for many, many, many years. So take all the time you need, make yourself a Masters game, and we'll see.
I just want Cyber Tiger 2, like
I get it.
Power of Tiger Woods in cybernetic form kind of brought forward into. I don't know. I liked golf on the Genesis, and that's kind of like at some point, like that style of golf game when they went off into that weird sim territory where they tried to take it way too seriously. Mario Golf, that's my shit. Like a everybody's golf, like a get some clap hands.
Some high shots. Yeah.
Well, look, I mean, when I talk simmy, in the old Tiger Woods games, you could like decide which backspin or forward spin the ball would have in midair, which is just an insane idea, right? But it was great. It was great. But yeah, I mean, so as far as you can call those a sim, I guess is sort of flexible. But yeah, I don't know, like man, but that 2K one was just disappointing in a way that I got real bummed on, especially that matchmaking stuff. I think we even talked about it when it came out, but yeah, I'm excited to see where it goes. I part of me too is like also visiting all these amazing golf courses that you'll never see in your lifetime. I know that sounds crazy, but there is something to be said for sort of capturing that.
I feel like they all just kind of look the same. I don't know. Maybe I just don't care enough about golf, but I feel like golf it's just like this one's a dog leg left or whatever, right? I mean, it's how different are they really?
The environments and the golf biomes are really diverse on this planet. So there's some cool shit.
Why are there no golf levels like in a volcano?
Like
we need more outlaw volleyball,
like a Mordor kind of level. Is that
and you'll get some
on a fire level, on ice level?
There's all that shit. There's not a Mario one. There's not a Mario one where like
there might be a Mario one,
right? There's got to be.
Yeah, I would assume there's like a Bowser's Castle Mario golf level somewhere that probably gets you at least partway there. We don't see enough miniature golf games, I think is actually my real.
What was the one? There was one last year.
We don't see enough maximum golf games like 100-foot robot golf.
Yeah.
Something I voice acted in, so I'm biased.
There was a PC Gundam free. Well, you're gonna have to go.
That's it. That is Gundam golf.
That is Gundam golf.
It is exactly that.
What the hell was it called? Golf with Your Friends was pretty good.
Yep.
That was like a mini golf.
Yeah, it feels like there's definitely a rise of like kind of fun golf games again, whether it's on mobile or not. There was the one
not to mention What the Golf. I mean, come on, the darling.
Hell of a game.
Of what was that, 2020 or 2019? Who knows?
Yeah. Let's see here. GDC happened last week.
It did.
Yeah. Jan, you're close. Did you feel game developers descending upon your location at all?
Do you smell them?
Yes.
Yeah.
Constantly. I felt them all. I heard about presentations. I saw a one Ben Hansen in person of MinMax.
Excellent.
Good
We
God.
ate a burrito together. We
I
toasted,
missed that, man. Nice.
We should have toasted burritos. Now that I think about it.
No,
Missed
you should have
opportunity.
Lady
No,
and the
that's-
Tramped a
Don't-
burrito.
That
I-
takes a long
That's not
time.
safe. That's
Not in the COVID world.
Yeah.
No, look, this is where normal life is back. We're Lady and the Tramping burritos now. Okay, the ultimate sign of normalcy.
if you have to get COVID somehow, at
Let it
least
be.
do it by Lady and the Tramping a
Right?
burrito.
Come on, live a little.
He didn't
Seems
want to
like
get
a
the super
fair number
burrito.
of. Send that boy back to Minneapolis. It seems like a fair number of people got COVID at GDC.
Yeah, great.
Saw a lot of reporting along those lines there. I guess and that happened on the heels of DICE, which was in Las Vegas, which, you know, I feel like a ton of people came back from DICE with a case of that as well. It does not feel like it is time for this stuff to start happening yet. And the idea that like there's going to be a PAX East coming up here relatively soon, just maybe it is because I still have kids too young to get vaccinated, but none of this is sitting well at all. This seems fucking dumb. That said, not really a ton of announcements. I feel like the other kind of big news coming out of that show was like, boy, there sure is a lot of crypto shit here.
Yes. Ben had mentioned that there was a strong crypto presence on the show floor.
Yeah. I mean, you know, they'll sell booth space to anybody, I guess. Especially if other companies are not going to go because they're like being responsible and going like, maybe it's not time yet.
It's also I would also wager that it's also made up of like ex-game industry people too that are doing this.
Yep.
So-
There's definitely there's a push from some people who have long careers in gaming that have suddenly decided that this is the way forward. And it's interesting because I feel like that talk has largely died in a mainstream sense, but there's still a lot of people pushing on it, trying to make it happen. And it's just a bunch of people that keep telling themselves like, everyone hated free to play too, and now look at it, it's huge. This is going to be exactly like that. And I do not think that's the case. Microsoft had a few little things here and there. Well, a handful of announcements around the show. Part of this was a presentation from Kim Swift, who is there now running a cloud native division at Xbox. Video Games Chronicle kind of distilled some of this presentation down a little bit. Kim Swift, if you remember, is part of the original team from DigiPen that made an Arbacular Drop. That's the game that became Portal. And she was at Valve for a while, worked on Left 4 Dead and some other stuff like that. And then after that ended up at the studio that made Dark Void, where where they were Quantum Conundrum came out. Anyway.
Can you say that again? Because I feel like I keep hearing my name.
Narbacular Drop is the name of the student game that led to that student game team getting hired on at Valve, and then they went on and turned that into Portal.
Cool.
Narbacular Drop is a neat game as well. I played it back when that was all fresh and new, and I was like, oh yeah, this is cool too.
A lot of hockey and pinball. Odd.
Yeah, weird how that happens.
Got my DNA up in there. Oh my god.
Oh god.
That
You
didn't
keep
come
your
out the
DNA
best
out of it.
way.
That's really not the
Kind
not
of-
the words for this.
Immediately regretted that.
Okay, post Valve, post Airtight Games, Kim Swift ended up at Stadia for a little bit and now is running this cloud division. And this is something that I feel like has been a missing piece from a lot of this cloud talk for a while that they really backed away from talking about once Crackdown 3 came out. I don't know if you remember.
Right. Yes.
Pre-release Crackdown 3
Oh my
was
God.
all this destruction is powered by the cloud and all these presentations and all this amazing this is going to change games forever and all such stuff. And then Crackdown 3 came out and you're like, okay, we're only using this cloud stuff in the multiplayer. And by the way, the multiplayer is pretty bad, but we're syncing this destruction across multiple clients with the power of the cloud. It's not something that even looks impressive, but when I tell you about it, you go, that does seem like a hard problem.
You know, I'm sure there is some very cool shit out there that the cloud is able to, as it relates to the Microsoft stuff, is able to accomplish, and a lot of stuff under the hood that we can't see or appreciate. But it seemed like there was a point in all of this where the only thing the cloud sort of stuff could do was create a compelling demo. Yeah. And that was like kind of it. Because I remember going to E3 and being like, hey, you got to come see the cloud talk. And it was something very cool. I remember there was one with like space that was really interesting.
Yes, probably. Yeah, sure. That sounds
right.
Were
sort of like, we're in real time tracking every star we've ever seen. Anyway, all that shit sounded really cool on paper, but again, not a tangible like product that I feel like people were able to appreciate.
Right. And so with Crackdown 3 kind of being like the poster child for a lot of that stuff, and then that game got delayed a bunch and finally eked its way out. All that talk dried up for a good long time, and now it is starting to come back around. Ubisoft just announced some plans for some tech of its own that is kind of along similar lines. But I guess the thing here is, in the talk that Kim Swift has given here, that there's kind of three separate categories to cloud gaming: ubiquity, cloud AI, and runtime calculations. And ubiquity is the kind of like, hey, you can stream games kind of thing that, Microsoft is already kind of doing. Cloud AI, I think, is interesting. She says here, could advance what developers can do by using technology like machine learning, natural language processing, and reinforcement learning, which is more interesting than like we could have enemies that behave better because we're devoting more processing power to them, which I think is how a lot of people think of AI. But like the idea of like, oh, reinforcement learning of like, hey, here's a concept you're not getting in the game. We know that, we recognize that, and we're able to adjust on the fly to make sure you get it before you move on. Is kind of how I read that. Language processing for like you talking to games in an Alexa style way could be potentially interesting, but like machine learning and some other stuff, I think like they're all just buzzwords, but like those seem like they could bring actual differences to games if used correctly or used appropriately, I guess is maybe the better way to say that.
Yeah. Sure, I like it.
And then also, this is stuff that could be used to have like a better detection of like toxicity in voice chat and stuff like that as well, which seems useful. And then that third category is runtime calculations, which is kind of similar to the Crackdown example of look at all this destruction, we're rendering some of it in the cloud and we're syncing it across multiple multiplayer clients and all that sort of stuff. This is what Stadia promised in a lot of ways too, where she was previously, and I feel like it is maybe it's telling that we are still in this talking stage and we are still talking about some of the same stuff all these years later.
Is it still too lofty of a promise?
I don't know, right? I mean, that's you envision like a situation where like, oh, if this is all running on a server and it dynamically serving me content, then you could have thousands of players connected to a single game world. And what would that be like? And, like what the logistics of that, is that actually good?
Yeah.
Is that actually a fun game? Is that actually something players want to do? No one's proved that out yet. So it's all just these like vague discussions about like, oh, well,
feels so theoretical, Yeah.
Yeah. And it always just gets applied to this concept of bigger, and open world games are not small now. You could argue that some of them are too big.
Yeah.
And so I, like that sort of stuff, like I wish that there was someone who said, here's the design we have that takes this into account. And here's what we like, not just the theoretical technology, like here's what we think would actually be a solid, great video game that people would want to play and stick with, that is doing things that can't be done in a traditional way. And
it seems just like phrased with investors in mind, these theoretical, somewhat untenable, pie in the sky, vague promises of growth in many different ways. And
at least it's not metaverse, you know? Yeah, right.
Sure.
But
Like,
at least this is like talk to developers and not talk to
yeah.
investors. So it's more like, here's machine learning, here's tech that you could go off and come up with an idea. We've got the tech handled, I think is what Microsoft is trying to say here. And obviously there's been talk about, you know, that Kojima's got some big idea for some big crazy cloud-based thing.
When doesn't he?
Right, exactly. You know, it's like Death Stranding wasn't big enough. Like, what if we, you know, like, I don't even know. Like, gonna walk across the world this time. Your shoes are really gonna fuck up when you try to walk to Europe. Let's see, a couple more here. Illfonic has a new Ghostbusters game called Ghostbusters Spirits Unleashed. It's a 4v1 asymmetrical multiplayer game. Illfonic has previously worked on Predator Hunting Grounds and the Friday the 13th The Game.
Okay.
And now they're making one where you can play as a ghost or you can play as a Ghostbuster. It seems like that the Ghostbusters will maybe not be the classic Ghostbusters, though Dan Aykroyd and Ernie Hudson seem to be involved in some way. I assume they're like, hey, new Ghostbuster, like the classic modern Ghostbusters thing of like, hey, new Ghostbuster, get out there and bust some ghosts.
I feel like Ernie Hudson has recorded so much of that. I mean, I know he's all over the pinball machine that they made a couple years ago too, where it's like, welcome aboard, kid. Like that kind of stuff. He's recorded. I feel like he might not even have to be in a booth. There's just enough out there. He's done enough work already.
Maybe. They put out a trailer and some other information. Players can play as the ghost. They can fly and teleport, possess objects, and such, according to Video Games Chronicle. My question that I'll pose to you, can I play as a ghost and suck off Dan Aykroyd?
Well, that's the first chapter.
That's why he's involved.
It says right here.
I'm sure he's doing mocap for it right now.
Can I do this? Because if not, what are we even doing here?
Right.
If I can play as the ghosts.
If there isn't even like a single developer that snuck that in as, you know, some sort of Easter egg that's very, very difficult to trigger, then what are we doing?
I don't know.
Making M-rated games is probably what they're doing. But yeah, I look, this sounds like an okay idea right up until the point where you tell me this is from the developers of Predator Hunting Grounds and Friday the 13th, the game.
Yeah.
They all sounded like good ideas at the time.
Okay, so okay, how about this? I have a better question. Dream developer for a Ghostbusters game.
I don't know. I've rather liked the one that was 2000. What the hell?
I think it was
360.
2006.
That wasn't too bad, actually.
Yeah, that one was pretty dang good.
And then they remade that one relatively recently, right? Like a remastered version came out.
That was.
I'm gonna pitch that Double Fine could do a pretty funny Ghostbusters game.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's a good. That
was Terminal Reality. You see?
They did that last one. Yeah. And then there was some kind of XBLA style, like top-down shooter thing.
Yeah. They had a couple of VR ones as well.
Oh, that's right.
Someone said From Software in the chat.
I feel like a Rocksteady Ghostbusters would be cool.
Oh yeah,
that could be neat.
Yeah,
okay.
It feels like to me inherently a Ghostbusters game kind of has to be co-op.
Mm-hmm.
Sure.
I don't know why I feel that way, but like something about me says like you are not a solo Ghostbuster. You are always rolling with someone else, and to rein in the ghosts and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
But
you don't have to. I hear what you're saying where that makes sense. You don't have to do that. I feel like they did do that 06 one came out where you were playing with like in a group where
it was like AI.
Right?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And I guess they could just do that, but I don't know. Like that's. I like I feel like there are very few Ghostbusters games that are. Actually, no, I can name like 3 or 4 that I like now that I think about it. I didn't love that last one that they just remastered. It was okay. I didn't get super into it.
I'm sorry, it was 09, not 06 was the...
Okay, yeah.
I thought 06 was a little too soon.
Yeah. But
Get
yeah.
Supermassive to make one.
Yeah.
That'd be funny. That'd be kind of good.
Yeah, that could be all right. But yeah, I don't know. Like, I feel like that I get why you do that 4 versus 1 asymmetrical thing. Like
I've never super enjoyed games like that. I don't know what it is.
Exactly. Like it's a cool idea on paper, and for some reason, even after all of these games that have come out that I've been like felt were pretty bad, there's still a part of me that's like, oh yeah, okay, I see why you would do that. But like at this point, I think I'm just accepted. There's just like I don't think those games are very good. But
I think it should, instead of being a 4 versus 1, I think it should be like a Phasmophobia style situation where there's like a programmed enemy ghost or a bunch in a place, and you have to hunt them down and bust them ghosts.
Mm-hmm.
I think that would be cool.
Yeah,
Bustin'.
Give it to the Stranger of Paradise team.
Ooh. Okay, now you're
there
just.
We go.
Here we go.
You're just the madman.
Don't even need to explain it. We all just know it.
I get it.
Yeah. I like that plan. Bungie is lawyering up. This is an interesting story. As someone who has made a lot of videos for the internet, this is a really interesting story. So I guess someone went and pretended to either be Bungie or be Bungie's like kind of anti-piracy firm and filed a bunch of false DMCA claims on YouTube content, and went and got a bunch of people copyright strikes on YouTube, which if you don't know, that's a fucking hassle to deal with if you end up getting a strike. And if you get too many of them, they just straight up take your account down off of YouTube, which for people whose livelihoods depend on that, there are a lot of systems in place that can screw those people over without them actually doing anything wrong, such as this, where a bunch of people got DMCA notices on their Destiny 2 videos, even though Bungie denied having anything to do with that. So Bungie is attempting to strike back. All of the kind of claims have been rescinded, and people have gotten their strikes taken away and all other stuff. And so good. A lot of time was wasted on that stuff. And Bungie is looking to screw some people to the wall over this.
Damn.
They are filing a lawsuit against multiple John Does, the people who filed these fraudulent DMCA notices. They've got they're hoping to get those people found and de-anonymized and sue them. A lot of these looks like they were created from newly created Gmail addresses. This is according to torrentfreak.com, which traffics in some fascinating news from time to time. And so I guess as a part of this, Bungie suspects that maybe this is someone retaliating against Bungie for actually filing some legit DMCA claims on things like music and some other stuff that was not like actual fair use style content, was just people posting Bungie stuff onto YouTube, and that potentially some of the folks who got hit there decided to hit back with these fraudulent DMCA notices. It's been known for a while that the YouTube system for filing DMCA claims sucks.
It's so scary.
It is extremely way too easy to file these claims, even if you are not the holder of those rights. It's like stuff that you're just like, how is this like this?
I want to say that like 80 to 90% of all little DMCA copyright claims I've gotten on my own videos on YouTube with like Konami stuff in it.
Yeah.
It's not Konami doing it. It's some chucklefuck who just uploaded a song from Silent Hill 2 and used that to tag this. And if you're new at this YouTube stuff and you're just scared about this stuff, you're just going to say, oh, I'm sorry. And just like, if they look legit enough, you're not going to look into it. And it's just like rampant. It's ridiculous.
And so
it's weird to see a company actually decide like, you know what, this is dumb, let's do something legally about it.
Yeah, and hopefully this is something that leads to YouTube kind of improving those systems, because there's a lot of stuff like that where someone is basically, and in some of those situations they're often not issuing strikes, they're taking all the ad money off of someone's video by saying, oh, you have music that I own the rights to because I published this video over here. When we log into our YouTube backend, we could wreak havoc on people, because any situation where we've talked over, say, like a Fallout trailer or something like that, even us talking over the video, if someone else has just taken that trailer and put it up raw on their channel, I can go in there and hit a button right now to fuck them over.
Yeah, me too. And I'm a far smaller channel than Giant Bomb's channel. And there's a whole section that's like copyright claims and monetization and stuff like that. And it's like, here's like a bunch of people that used your video. And it's like, no, this is like the cold open to some dumbass Silent Hill game.
Exactly.
I didn't make that. And I should have no right to click a button and say like, hey, that's mine, take it down, because it isn't mine.
Yeah. But their robots don't know that, and they have not improved that technology in a way that fixes this for people. And so we had to, we've had a lot of people issue YouTube advice to us over the years internally at the various companies that have owned us. And someone we had to we had to get on some calls and very much say, no, don't do that, because their recommendation was just like, you should just auto claim everything. If they're using your videos, they're using your videos. And we'd be like, no, you don't fucking understand how video games work. Do not do that. Absolutely do not do that. Do not put
our videos.
Yeah. And had to very calmly explain to them, no, that is not our content. I know that the robot thinks it is, but please do not go apply a policy to our channel, person who holds the keys to our channel, who I do not know, to go and do all this sort of stuff. That is not our situation today, but at the last company, it sometimes was. And it's scary. That shit's just like that stuff is just so slapped together in some ways. I get why Bungie would be pissed, and I wish them all the fucking luck in the world, because hopefully this leads to some change on the YouTube end of things, because that stuff's bad. The stuff's bad. In conclusion, that stuff's bad. We're gonna take a break. We'll come back and we'll handle some other stuff and get into some emails. So stay tuned. All right, we're back. One more news story here before we move on with the show. At some point during the last segment, Chris Bratt with a B. What? Not Bratt, but not the voice of Mario. Oh, maybe the voice of British Mario. Chris Pratt is from People Make Games, who has been covering a lot of stuff on YouTube. Is reporting that Funomena, the studio behind Wadham, is looking to close at the end of this month, and that all contractors have already been laid off as of last Wednesday. Whoa. This checks out, I guess, in a sense that I feel like I've seen more and more ex-Funomena people out there saying, hey, I'm no longer with the studio, which I thought was all in relation. Well, I guess in some ways it actually is. But all this was in relation to some reporting that Brett did about the studio, and specifically its CEO, Robin Hunick. I do not know I've never known how to pronounce her name. And the way that she has run that studio. GameDeveloper.com kind of pulled a lot of it apart and kind of got into some of the specifics about it, or a lot of the interviews and stuff that Chris Pratt conducted, saying that basically a lot of inappropriate discussions in the workplace and a lot of details about her team's dating lives and other personal facts to kind of working their way into conversations where they probably didn't need to be brought up, and those sorts of things. And a lot of developers kind of, feared retaliation. There's a lot of information about clashing with Keita Takahashi, who's the creator of Katamari Damacy, who also worked on Wadham. Wadham was a game that seemingly took forever to come out, and every time you would kind of ask about or kind of try to figure out what was going on there, it sounded like maybe things were a little rough around the edges, and some of this reporting backs that feeling up as well. Saying here, employees spoke critically of Takahashi's behavior, saying he could be overly critical of people's work, but cast more blame onto Hunicky for enabling the core dynamic. This led to she got on Twitter relatively recently, and in the wake of this, and said that, you know, this is, you know, sorry, I don't have her statement in front of me. Basically acknowledged the reporting and moved on, and now, or not moved on, but and now we're getting this report here that what moving on looks like is that the studio is looking to be closed by the end of the month, and that a lot of those contractors are already out. You know, there's been a bundle of these stories lately.
Yeah, and it's unfortunate that, like, you know, the retaliation that was so feared by these whistleblowers, it kind of happened. They lost their jobs, you know? This is why it's so hard for people to speak out about these sorts of behaviors, because it might lead to their studio catching so much heat, and especially as an indie studio,
Sure.
you know, that's easier to make the whole business crumble because there's so few people and so few safeguards to prevent this sort of thing from completely destroying your livelihood. So unfortunately, it's an example of that being a founded fear. That would motivate people to not speak out.
Yeah, I guess, yeah, that you're right there. I don't know that I would say that the studio is closing down specifically to retaliate against those people, instead of more of just like, there's probably no way forward if the person running the company is doing all of this stuff. It's like, okay, at some point, you know, are you selling it to someone? Does it shut down? What, you know, what is the actual solution there? It's never,
regardless of the, you know, whether or not it's like purposefully, you know, retaliatory, it's still putting the whole system that you're working in at risk. So
yes, yes, for sure. And yes, we wish those people the best as they find themselves suddenly looking for work. I mean, the end of the month is Thursday, so if it's closing by the end of the month, it's on. So yeah,
I didn't realize when they phrased it end of the month. I was like, wait, that's 2 days from now. Jesus.
Yeah. So again, that's Chris Bratz reporting on Twitter, who has been digging into this topic for quite some time now. I don't even know. I feel like what Funomena, they did Wadham. There was that VR thing with the bird before that. I don't know that they had an announced project or anything that. Which one?
The Falcon Bird?
No, it was like you controlled a little bird in these dioramas and went around, did some stuff. It was a cute little thing. It was like fairly slight, more of like a VR tech demo, I would say, than something else. And then Wadham, which took forever to make it out there. I wonder if there was a project, like if these people are walking away from a project that was fully in production, or what that studio ended up even doing post Wadham. I don't even know. But yeah, best of luck to them as they find themselves. God, yeah, that's a brutal timeline.
That sucks.
You hope that these people found out earlier than right now.
Yeah,
I know.
But
what's the status of the other two companies that were kind of exposed in that fellow's reporting? Chris Bratt, I forget the other two.
There was Mountain. The Ori, we touched on that, and that I don't think that anything has really moved there. I think that they kind of issued their statement internally saying, "Nuh-uh." That's a condensed version of what they said, but it basically was that.
And Mountain like kind of disbanded. I don't know the timeline of when that happened, though.
Yeah, so some of this stuff is already, you know, like there was obviously Fulbright was involved in this, and Steve Gaynor is not involved. I don't believe he's involved at all with Fulbright anymore, if I'm correct. But I think there was at least a stepping back from running the studio for sure. I don't know exactly where all of those studios stand, but yes, it was Mountains and then Moon Studios, which we talked about recently. I don't think anything's happened on the Moon Studios front. I feel like the phenomenon on the Moon stuff is the stuff that is like current and new to the conversation. Like the Fulbright stuff that happened last year. was it the year before? Gosh,
God, I don't remember.
the timeline runs together, but the point being, the Fulbright stuff was out there. The Mountain stuff was largely known about as well. And so, yeah, I don't know that if there's been any kind of updated reporting on that sort of stuff. But yeah, this is, and Annapurna seems to be kind of getting roped in to some of these conversations a little bit as well too, because they are, a studio or a company that is publishing games from a lot of small indie devs and all this other stuff. And so, there's always the question of like, if they heard about these things, did they do enough to address it, or were they more focused on just get the game out, or whatever it ends up being, how those partnerships work and all that sort of stuff. I don't really know, but it's probably different on a case by case basis. But yeah,
that sucks.
It sucks. I mean, it's a good. It's a reminder though that like this stuff is not exclusive to AAA studios, and you think about the sexual harassment end of this as always being some slick greaseball in a suit exerting his power in a direct way over his subordinates. I mean, it's not. This is stuff that can happen in smaller teams as well, and especially these smaller teams where you have a lot of people that are not like disciplined leaders and are not always well trained in how to manage people and all this other stuff. And
sorry to interrupt, but you're becoming a robot, Jeff.
Oh, okay.
It's the only way to fix the problem.
Yeah. It's the only thing we can do. Do I sound any better now?
No.
Still kind of robot-y.
Can I disconnect from this call and reconnect without breaking anything?
You got better.
Okay.
Sorry to interrupt.
Well, why don't we move on to some emails? Bombcast@giantbomb.com is the email address. Last week, we asked for people to send in crimes they committed.
Yeah, I kind of... Should we have not?
I hope this was like of retroactive crimes. Like they didn't go out and commit crimes and then email about it.
Oh, yeah. That was in the fine print last week.
I didn't think about that.
I did not do that. Right.
Yeah. Maybe don't go commit new crimes. I'm not your dad.
Maybe don't.
I am. Don't do it.
Probably don't.
Okay.
Make the right choice. Yeah.
Yes, make the right choice for you. As this person did, I'm gonna just maybe leave some names out of some of this stuff.
Smart.
So back in the original Xbox days, I made a killing off Halo 2 modding and boosting people's levels in school and their friends. I soft modded my Xbox with the Mech Assault Dash method.
Yep.
That's what I did as well. And made my own Halo mods. I would charge people $35 to $100 to rank them up or actually install the soft mod on their own boxes. That's hilarious because like doing that just means you've got a disc and a memory card that you're just hooking up to an Xbox, and it takes like 5 minutes to install Unleash X or whatever you're putting in there. So charging that kind of money for that is
I bet he felt like such a cool hacker doing that though as a kid.
I bet. But it gets there's more. The original Xbox Live 2-month live trial cards were plentiful, but back then when you signed up, it required a credit card, which became a problem because I was only 17 and my parents got mad when they would see a bunch of test charges on their invoice. What was my most logical step? A credit card generator.
Oh, okay.
Ooh.
Okay.
So if you're not familiar with the credit card generator, credit cards are just checksummed. There's a mathematical process that determines if a credit card is a valid MasterCard or Visa or not. You can go click a button and generate 1 billion of them. It doesn't mean they're going to go charge somebody because they're usually not real accounts, and they're you don't have all the other real information to make it real. But if you're just trying to fool some basic thing that's going to be like, is this meet the checksum? That stuff's easy. It's why they don't really do that as much anymore. It's not.
We can probably end each one of these emails with we were just kids back then.
Yeah,
is what we should just do.
It was a simpler time to steal shit online.
Back then.
I didn't know it was wrong.
Anyway, I could generate valid credit card numbers from all the major companies. Apparently, the cards were in their respective databases, but not given out to people yet, or at least that's how it was explained to me. basically.
Sure.
I would go online and make sure I had a random city and zip code match. The name and address could be made up. I didn't think anything of it because having a modded Xbox on live usually got you banned within a couple of hours. Also, it was never a hardware ban, so it was just a rinse and repeat process of getting a new account on the same box. I also never spent a penny on the cards or accounts until the 360 came out. When I finally got a 360 with my graduation money, I not only found that the credit card method not alone still worked, but I could actually buy anything off the store on them.
Oh.
I would sell accounts loaded with 4 years of Xbox Live, almost every
shit.
early arcade game, and 200,000 Microsoft points for around $175 each.
Wow.
It's
And
a
with the
menace.
new generation comes a new level of felony.
What have we
Yeah,
done?
We're
this
like-
is
We jumped in terms of crime.
Yeah, this went from like petty bullshit to like you're going to jail.
yeah, like the value of what you're stealing from Microsoft and selling is enough to get you nailed to a fucking wall. You can argue if it's a digital whatever the actual value, but like if they were to nail. Anyway, I only did this for a little while as I would worry I would have the same dream as Feek and hackers having the FBI jump through my window one morning and arrest me. Anyway, that's
Wait.
my story. I still have my account to this day.
Oh, good for you, man. It's amazing that like also, you know, that's bad. That's bad on Microsoft. What are you allowing those transactions to go through? What are you crazy?
Yeah, I don't understand
Shame on
how
How does
you.
that happen?
Shame on you, Microsoft.
Let this be a lesson.
Yeah,
They should
Yeah,
go
I-
to jail.
Yeah.
exactly.
Who's the real criminal?
Yeah. Who indeed. All right, next email here. This is, well, just say that this is from someone in North Jersey. He says, here was some crime that's safe to talk about, but I'll keep it somewhat vague. I worked for a supermarket a few years ago. There were clear signs that something was about to change as business was not booming. Our store closed and the union moved folks around. Sure enough, the new stores showed similar signs. The company filed for bankruptcy in January and expected to close in March of 2020. Then the pandemic kicked off. Businesses went from slow to fast real quick, breathing new life into the stores. It became quickly apparent that the company did not really give a shit about our safety, let alone any sort of severance pay. They pushed back the shutdown of the store 3 times, either because business was good or the sale of the stores was not finalized yet. In the end, we were all pissed off. I had stumbled on some employees in the middle of a scheme. It turns out some folks were, during their shift, buying a few things and adding to their bags they got with their purchases afterwards, stealing and walking out the door. I felt like that wasn't enough and wanted to go further.
Oh, you got a taste. You got that
You're
first
taller.
taste.
Yeah.
We got a Robin Hood forming over here, I think.
I know, yeah. I decided to just fill up a few bags on my own at a time when stores were running out of bags and just walk out the back. Security was not strong at the time, and I figured walking out the back confidently as a white guy who was wearing a mask could get away with it. Flash forward to May, I got a text from a coworker. They got me supposedly on camera. Security was doing their job. They're waiting for me. I panicked for a minute. Do I walk in? Do I just bail? What do I do? So I walk in confidently, punch in, and immediately get called upstairs. As I walk up with security, I whisper, "Oh, fuck," under my mask. They sit me down in the security room. I play dumb and answer vaguely. They show me a blurry clip of what I know is me walking out the back in broad daylight, but you can't actually tell it was me because of the mask. They stare me down and give me 2 options. The first, I talk with my union to try to keep my job there, or they let me walk out as if I quit and forget about all this since the store closes officially in a month. I walk.
Yeah.
I then text my coworkers to let them know they are definitely onto them and to chill with the stealing. A month later, the store closes. It's been almost 2 years now. If the opportunity presented itself, I would probably do it again.
Yeah, I mean,
That was moral.
you know how often shit like that goes down. I like.
Victimless crime.
I'm sure.
This was. I feel like there's a grocery store near me. Before the pandemic, we used to go there maybe once a month, and they would give you a price scanner, a barcode scanner, and you would scan all your shit as you put
That's-
it into your cart.
Yeah.
And my kid loved it because he was like, "Oh, I'm fucking scanning barcodes left and right. This is
That's
great.
fun.
It's a lot of fun for a kid." And then there was one time where we had so much stuff that the entire bottom row of the cart never got scanned because and when you walk out and when you get to the cashier, you just basically, it's a robot. You just show the code on your scanner and then it's like, all right, you owe this, and you walk out the door.
Yeah.
So we probably took like $100 worth of stuff and not even like, and I was always very surprised by like how trustworthy they sort of
Great,
were. It wasn't
yeah.
intentional. It was an honest mistake, similar to the plot of My Cousin Vinny. But either way,
Who
you know.
here
Did
is
you,
never,
did you go
like-
back and right those wrongs? Did you go back in and say like, hey?
No, absolutely not. We didn't realize it until all the food was like mixed up anyway.
Yeah.
And you know, that's my
Who could
story. And I'm
tell?
sticking to it.
A likely
What was paid for and what wasn't.
That's
Yeah.
the story I'm going with. So
who here has not shoplifted in some capacity? Whether it's, oops, I forgot to put this on the little
I genuinely
was-
did, to be
I
clear.
was a-
But yes.
conveyor
I was a
belt.
really
Yeah.
bad shoplifter. I got caught
Like-
a couple times.
Oh, you're saying you weren't good at it.
I was not good at it. No,
Okay.
not at all. No.
How so? Can I get an average example of you getting caught? How did it happen?
How did it happen? I think, let's see, there was one time at Target, and me and a few friends, I was probably like 10 or something like that. We wanted to steal some video games.
Oh boy,
And we
the
put
ultimate
some-
prize.
We put some, there was 3 or 4 of us. I think 3 of us. Anyway, we got a cart, and we put the games in the cart, and then we took off our jackets and put our jackets over the games.
Oh, this is so
like
stupid.
this was
Sneaky.
hiding it.
Oh no.
And went out the front door, and there was somebody that just walked up behind us and just said,
Yo.
"Guys."
You didn't pay for the
And then
So-
they took your jackets.
Yeah.
Then they took our jackets. We froze that winter. I was in Wisconsin. I almost died.
Genius move.
Yeah,
What a heist.
real fucking smart. Real
Yeah,
fucking
that's-
smart.
I can't even guess how many pounds and pounds and pounds of kitty litter I have stolen over the
What?
course of the years in which I had a cat. Because you just put it
okay.
on the bottom, you put it on the bottom thing and no one checks it. And then it's just like, whoop,
okay.
bye.
So
Interesting.
in a lot
Sorry,
of Asian
Walmart.
supermarkets, that's why they keep the rice in a separate section.
They can see you picking that shit up.
Yeah, you got to tell them at the
yeah.
register, like, "Yo, I want the 50-pounder," and then you got to walk over and then take it, versus taking it in store.
Got it.
Nice.
Noted.
All right. This one comes to us from West Virginia. I spent years managing a store for a certain small pizza chain, and while I could fill a novel with all the wild criminal behavior I witnessed over 8 or so years, a personal favorite was, while covering a shift for a delivery guy, one of our regulars, who we all called the drug guy, tried to tip me with a small bag of what I assume was cocaine.
Oh shit.
When I politely refused, he said, "Oh, John loves this shit," and then nonchalantly pulled $5 out of his pocket and gave me that instead. A couple weeks later, I had to let John go after discovering that he was quietly unlocking our side entrance some nights and returning after hours to steal huge amounts of food. My weekly inventories were way off, and I drove past the store one evening and found him in the parking lot with a 5-pound bag of pepperoni slung over his shoulder.
It's not what it looks like.
Yeah. No, this is mine. I brought this from home.
I can explain.
Now that I have a boring office job, I miss those days. Yeah. No, I got it. I get it.
Yeah,
A
there
lot of pepperoni.
back at the coffee shop, there was suspicion because we were missing 5 pounds of coffee beans,
Oh.
and it was like, all right, which one of us did it? Which one of us did it? Either A, stole it, or B, accidentally opened this bag and spilled all the beans on the floor. Had to clean it up. Still haven't figured it out.
It's a mystery to this day. Yeah.
Maybe it was me.
There's some dumb. People are fucking stupid. Like I worked at a pharmacy in high school, and motherfuckers thought they could steal like actual drugs. Like I remember
They like watch Drugstore Cowboy and then think that they could just hop over the fucking
like
counter and
Is the counter high on purpose because you can't hop over it so easy?
Well, no, this
hold
was
them up
straight out
for
of like, they have like a
Clarinex.
vault in the back that holds like the good stuff.
right.
I remember someone tried to steal a bunch of codeine, and then someone tried to steal these dumbass motherfuckers tried to steal an unopened pack of scratch off tickets. Okay.
Yeah.
Whoa.
If you know how that works, you
They
have
gotta
to
be
activate the
activated,
pack,
yeah.
you stupid bastards. So
I
like
had
these
no
people,
idea.
yeah, you can't just like You can't just like steal a pack of. Anyway, I guess
do
if
you
you don't know, you
activate?
don't know.
Yeah, I wouldn't know that.
Like they basically come. They look like a big book, and they're wrapped in plastic, and the
Right.
entire package of them is worthless until you register them.
Oh, when you
with your
sell
machine.
You like
Yeah, so you-
activate it as a
not the
open it
individual
ticket?
ticket. You activate the full
pack. You can
brick?
activate the
Oh.
full
Okay.
brick
Yeah.
of them, right?
Okay.
Like
So if
put
you
it
were to
into, like
just
the dispenser or whatever.
right, so if you were to just steal an
Oh.
entire, sealed, 500 pack of tickets, it's
worthless.
worthless. It's completely worthless. People would do some real like I didn't realize, and then when I would compare stories of like high school jobs to other people, pharmacy's really fucked up. Like there's a lot of shit there between the
I bet.
cigarettes and the drugs and the money from the lotto stuff. Like it's
And the sad drama of people that are struggling for medication. It's got to be
well,
stressful.
you also have a lot. I remember there being
Yeah.
a lot of people being like, "I lost my prescription and I need more Xanax," and
And
there's
sure
a
you
lot of
did.
that too. There's a lot of that. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's rough. It is a rough scene.
Yeah, and I bet that,
9:30
like,
comes along and
as an employee there, they're probably like extra scrutiny on you to make sure that you're not trying to like steal stuff internally and sell it out the back or anything like that too, huh?
Yeah, I mean, I don't remember the vetting process being that intrusive.
It's like,
but
I don't know,
certainly-
Bacalar tried to walk out with his pants full of codeine.
Yeah, he's stealing all the
Again.
diamond tap.
Sloshing around.
Frisk that motherfucker.
When
And
asked,
those
he
big-
said, I'm gonna
Those
drop
big
a 4 on it.
jeans.
All right.
Oh, scissor.
Oh shit.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. He showed up with his Jinkos and filled one half with codeine and the other half with Sprite.
Yeah.
Said his friends from Houston were in town. All right, this is the last one. This is not about crime, at least not directly. This is from Michael. He says, I've been listening to the Bombcast for the last few years, and I've heard Jeff reference their.com on several occasions, including last week making a joke about making skins for your dune buggies. As someone who played there quite a bit when it first came out, I've never heard anyone else ever reference it. So I was curious to know more about your history or understanding of it. And then he goes on to basically talk about his understanding of it, which matches up with mine exactly. For my own part, I was someone who made skins for my dune buggies and shirts in the game in my last year of high school and was successful enough to start selling the their bucks I had earned for real money. Over 4 years, I made around $25,000, and it was basically my main source of income through college.
Hey,
Yeah, so there was an early
that's not a great yearly salary, but
no, but
Not
it's
at all.
when you think about making money out of video games, especially back then in gosh, what was that? Was that the early 2000s? When did I don't even remember when exactly there happened, but there was a metaverse of a Second Life type nature. You could get, I think there were hoverboards and dune buggies, and you could go around and do stuff and interact with people, and it pretty much sucked. And I have a friend who an ex coworker, someone who worked at GameSpot for a period of time, that also I believe literally made money selling General Lee skins for the dune buggy in there. If I'm remembering that correctly. And that was one of Jade Raymond's early positions in gaming, if I remember correctly as well, before Assassin's Creed, before now running Haven and all this other stuff. She was there at there. And it seemed like you never heard interesting stories about there. It was never like Second Life where you just heard all these weird, vaguely porny, just like weird, like what are people doing in Second Life? What the fuck is going on over there type stuff. There was just there. I don't know. He goes on, secondly, I now work for a large streaming company. In a recent presentation by our top management, they briefly mentioned they were looking to develop a strategy for the metaverse. My experience with there and some other of these sorts of programs has led me to believe that these are mostly niche products, whereas I hear people on our marketing side seem to think the metaverse will eventually rival something like traditional Facebook, which Meta also seems to think. Given what little I've seen of the current Metaverse app, the view seems laughably optimistic. Do you have any thoughts on whether any company or product is remotely close to being the Oasis from Ready Player One, or is that still something that is still a distant dream? Even looking at what's out there now, it seems like something like Fortnite with its more socially focused modes is far closer to achieving that goal than Meta. Yeah,
I think that the only way to get something like a metaverse genuinely off the ground with any momentum is if there was free, good internet everywhere and
yeah.
anyone could get online. And that would be the way to get everyone to use it because it would be free and accessible. That's my speech.
Or they put
Mhm.
they just put it on side G.
Ah,
Everyone being a Gundam.
now you're thinking fourth dimensionally.
Mm.
Yeah. Side G is as close as we'll ever get. No, I this stuff seems like it feels like the people that are kicking these ideas around now haven't even learned any of the lessons of stuff like There and Second Life and even VR chat, which is way more contemporary. Like it just feels like these people are coming at it like they just invented it and just thought up this idea about, you know, social interactive spaces in game-like settings.
It reminds me. It reminds me of like the late '80s and early '90s idea of like the internet.
Yeah.
And like how like all the like funny graphic design was for everything, and how everything was supposed to be like it's like an internet cafe online. You know, I don't know, man.
There are some really awesome, like mainstream media outlets attempting to cover stuff like this, and it just reminds me of, you know, the mid '90s, like the internet kind of stuff,
Mm-hmm.
and it's pretty great.
The future is now.
Yeah. And now we're going inside the metaverse. Yeah, it's just
On the World Wide Web.
it just feels like that is like largely something used to placate investors when they say, "What's your Web3 strategy?" And all that shit. And then also that, yeah, people think that they're just going to hit upon something and it's going to be some magical, but like, no, like do the work to make that happen and actually make any of that stuff real is not, I don't, you know, hey, maybe when this cloud computing stuff gets to a point where you can start to build these gigantic worlds and all the other stuff, you could have the tech end of it hold up, but they still haven't found a good reason as to why anyone would ever want to do this ever. Outside of people that are already so far down the rabbit hole, whether it's their way into VR or their way into video games or what have you, that they're already used to socializing in spaces like that, whether it was Call of Duty voice chat or whatever. But like getting the average person, like a lot of people won't even fucking FaceTime because they're like, I don't want to see my face. But like the idea of like, well, now you're going to strap on a VR headset and you're going to go visit with your, you know, your brother-in-law who lives on the other side of the country. Fuck no, no one's going to fucking do that.
Dude, my little cousin is going to leave me in the metaverse.
Yeah, exactly. You know, but like
and
that could be
across the street in the virtual street.
Like, hey, and he'll have you muted. You won't even see. You know, he'll just be like, no, don't worry about him. Just mute. You should mute him too. No, he can't hear me. I have him blocked. It's fine. Yeah, all that stuff just seems like it is like there's a way forward with it, but like they haven't really found a reason why it needs to exist, and so that's the biggest problem. Is like why do people want to do this? There's no reason.
Like just some sort of like, I don't know, corporate end game. The future is now, infinite growth, buzzword, investors, like word salad.
Yep.
Is like behind this, and not any sort of actual creative vision or any idea for actually improving the world. It's just like, this is the next step, so we better do it. It feels like sci-fi written by like the most jaded financial guys. Or something.
Yeah, it's like people who read all that sci-fi and then forgot that all of these things were usually like bad for society.
Warnings instead of like, ooh,
exactly,
profit margins.
Yeah, and just went like full steam ahead and named their company around it and all this other stuff. It's insane. But yeah, I think Fortnite has a better shot than anybody of like when you just like fuck metaverse, fuck what you think it means. But like when you talk about just like, let's have a social space that people can get together and hang out, and it's whether it's VR or not, like Fortnite is already kind of doing that in a sense, and there are other kind of smaller platforms like VR chat, like they're already kind of doing that. But yeah, I don't know, right now Fortnite seems like it has as good a shot as any as like making that mainstream because Fortnite is very big, and and they are willing to do stuff outside of just it being a video game. They've shown that they want to try to do stuff, but usually that stuff is in service of a brand, and in service of some kind of brand integration around, like, I don't know, here's Thanos, he's going to tell you something about a movie we hope you go see, as opposed to a means to an end unto itself and all that other stuff. But, you know, they keep selling all these skins, and you see all these different IPs clashing together, and, you know, they're building some kind of horrific nightmare. But I like VR Chat and Tower Unite because they're the lawless versions of that, where people are like, fuck it, we stole this Violent J model out of Backyard Wrestling for PS2, and now you can be Violent J.
Kind of feels like early internet a little bit,
Yeah.
like the Hypnospace Outlaw style version of things. And it's like, great, it's only a matter of time until we corporatize it and sanitize it and make it way less creative, and cool. History repeats.
Yeah, except now it's like the corporations are just trying to fucking ruin it out of the gate before it even takes hold, as opposed to like coming in and destroying something that already exists.
I'm genuinely curious about what technological advancements the adult entertainment industry is trying to get off the floor.
Teledildonics. Now we're talking.
Teledildonics.
Yes.
That's a whole other podcast.
If anyone's going to do it, it's
teledildonics.
And
what's that?
And Fortnite.
Teledildonics. What do you think it is?
What do you think
Say it
teledildonics
slowly.
is?
Say it slowly.
Teledildonics.
Oh, got it. Okay.
They're making Ranch at Home.
No. Okay, in a way. All right, I get it.
But like all that stuff is, you know, like the bodysuits, the things you can strap to yourself in various ways, like that stuff will only get better. That stuff already exists in I don't know that I would,
in a real uncomfortable way.
I don't know that I would hook my junk up to the internet, you know, like, because I don't, like, do you trust the privacy of any of these companies? Do you trust, like, you know, at what point is like, oh, this weird vibrator got hacked and now
Someone's
it's
gonna hack my pussy.
Yes, it's stuck inside me somewhere, and now I can't turn it off. And oh my god, we're all gonna die. You know,
realize the first person to ever be killed by an internet dildo has been born.
I look forward to their obituary.
Yeah.
Hey, you know, not that I know of it, but I have heard and read that there are virtual BDSM people that have accidentally gotten locked in apparatuses and have had to visit or call authorities to get them out of said apparatus.
A locksmith.
A locksmith.
Who do you call? Who do you call? A locksmith?
You call your mom? Like, what do you know?
ER? Do you call a different BDSM person for help?
No, because then you have to pay that person also.
Yeah. It's like,
Bombcast.
I'm already a pay pig over here. I can't afford to have you come over and cut me out of this thing. Damn it.
Just reset your router. It'll be fine. It'll reset the whole
Yeah,
thing.
there you go.
Just
Fine.
unplug it, plug it back in. Yeah, I mean, we
in
need
there too.
all these items. We'll have to come with some kind of virtual safe word in order to let you out of them, right? I mean, if we're being responsible with it.
Password?
I bet it'll probably be some sort of like big red button that is like vacuum sealed gap to the internet where it can't be hacked. You have to have that big red safety button. No, it's not connected to the internet.
Like the button might not be, but the device still is. And so if they set the device up so it's not listening for the button anymore,
it has like a radio frequency that if you get within reach of it. No.
Yeah.
Oh,
okay.
Man.
Yeah. Yes. These types of safety protocols I don't think exist in today's equipment.
We've invented them here and now.
Yes. And so
you're
welcome.
This should have been a GDC conference that we just did. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. The future of teledildonics and video games.
Right.
According to me, making it up right now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's right. And so all that's coming to Fortnite, and we're pretty excited about it. And thanks. That's gonna do it for the show. Please send in your teledildonic. No, I don't know.
No.
I've got some more crimes that we're going to probably get into next week, so we probably don't need any new crimes. But you know,
thank you
Thursday, call the voicemail dump truck with your teledildonic stories if you have any. That's 707 exit flu. But maybe we can get into it there. That's probably a better.
Don't send pictures.
Better spot for that.
Don't send
That's
pictures.
Definitely
please.
the type of conversation that's more attuned to the dump truck.
Probably.
Those are the
yeah.
conversations we need to be having on the dump truck, and it's
Just
frankly
happen.
sickening that we're not having them.
There was no.
Gus, what's the number for HR?
707 exit flu.
707
Oh,
exit
thank
flu.
you.
Yep.
Yeah,
Thank you.
leave them a message. They'll get back to you very quickly,
Mhm.
fast.
Already too many.
All right, that happens on Thursday, so come back for that. What else we got going? Arcade Pit is taking a week off, but it will be back next week.
And instead, we're
Um,
playing Mario Kart 8's new tracks.
New tracks with you, the community. Only if you're
With
using
me?
tilt controls.
Oh, okay. Well, I don't have tilt controls on my. I don't know.
Should get
I got. All right, I'll check and see if I can get a hold of some tilt controls for tomorrow, but I no guarantees. All right, that's gonna do it. Okay, I'm using Teledildonics.
Tilt.
Tilt.
Tonics.
Teletildonics, just Mario, and that's just coming out of his head. I'm using Teletildonics, and you just see me going like this.
It's a me.
It's a me. Have a good week, everybody. We'll be back another episode of the Giant Bombcast next Tuesday. See you soon. Bye.
We'll be right back.